Right? You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
A terrible, no good, very bad week for CNN, which over the weekend dumped contributor Rick Santorum, one of its few conservative voices. He'd insulted an entire community by saying there isn't much Native American culture. In American culture, there was nothing here when the settlers arrived. Santorum went on the air, said he'd misspoken, but refused to apologize. Also, as you alluded to, CNN cutting ties with Middle East freelancer Adil Raja for tweeting, "The world needs another Hitler." And this isn't the first time the writer had tweeted pro-Nazi sympathies. CNN called that abhorrent. CNN's right about that. And then the Chris Cuomo apology. He said he made a mistake by privately advising his brother, Andrew Cuomo, in that sexual harassment investigation. Of course, he's going to talk to his brother. But what Chris Cuomo did was he joined the governor's damage control calls with lawyers, PR people, the governor, and his own staff.
That's Howie Kurtz talking about the rough week that CNN had last week. You may or may not have known, because it doesn't seem as though many people are watching CNN these days. Interesting to me that when you take the Trump out of the storyline, people become less interested in putting on the Fox News or the CNN jersey to all riled up in the hate that they're just used to having, or the love and passion about the specific person. Forget about all the issues that we need to be talking about. Welcome into the Annie Fry Show. Happy Monday. We are in a Memorial Day week ahead of us, and we're glad that you have chosen to spend some time with us here. I do want to talk a little bit more about the Chris Cuomo stuff, because we discussed this a little bit last week, and I posed the question to the team here. If it's family, does that make any difference? I think we talked about this on Thursday. If it's family, does it make any difference to you that Chris Cuomo was advising Andrew Cuomo on, I don't know, a host of scandals potentially that he has? We've been talking about the nursing home scandal. We've been talking about the sexual harassment scandal. Listen to the apology that Chris Cuomo gave here last week. This is from
my family
CNN.
Means everything to me, and I am fiercely loyal to them. Being looped into calls with other friends of his and advisors that did include some of his staff, I understand why that was a problem for CNN. It was a mistake, because I put my colleagues here, who I believe are the best in the business, in a bad spot.
So when you listen to Chris Cuomo there talking, you notice how he led with family is the most important thing to me. And then he follows up with, but I understand that I put my CNN colleagues here in a tough spot. He's still telling you that, at the end of the day here, the most important thing to me, and the most important thing for me to tell you, is that my family comes first. Now, I have a hard time saying that family shouldn't come first, but potentially being non-active in one of these situations is the best move, as opposed to being forced to be active when you listen to how he was involved in what he was explaining. Joe Concha was on with Outnumbered earlier, and I thought he had a great take on this.
His family. Okay, go work for your brother then. You already do already. Might as well get paid for that aspect. That's what's unbelievable about this, right? Or go work for the DNC or run for office yourself. There's a mayor's race that's going to be coming up soon. Get out of TV, because he is not an anchor. Chris Cuomo is not. He is an activist. And let's go through an aggregate exactly what Chris Cuomo has done in terms of violations, ethical violations that anybody else not receiving his paycheck would have been fired from. And he's getting criticized by the left, by the way. This isn't a right-wing argument or a left-wing argument. It's a pragmatic argument. March of 2020, he receives COVID testing before anybody else in New York can get it from his brother, Andrew, literally having state troopers go out to his house in the Hamptons to test him. He tests positive for COVID. So he interviews his brother while he is COVID positive, never brings up the nursing home scandal in any way, shape, or form that left 15,000 people dead in nursing homes. So those weren't interviews. It was PR. Again, he works for his brother. April of 2020, he fakes his own quarantine, actually gets into a confrontation with a 60-something-year-old man at the Hamptons at another house that he's building. So he wasn't at his house. He was 30 minutes away, thereby putting that person at risk. That person filed a police report against him. So he should have been gone then at that point. And then a tape emerges last year. Tucker Carlson was able to obtain it, where he coaches Michael Cohen through an interview that he's going to do on CNN. Doesn't only give him the questions, he even gives him the answers. How does that not get him fired? And now he's giving his brother advice on how to avoid allegations around sexual harassment. If you are a woman and you appear on that show, shame on you, because this is not somebody who believes all women, as he so piously said over the last year and a half.
So just on point there. I thought Joe Concha did a wonderful job summing that up. I mean, when you listen to any news that is out there right now, you can pick your cable news network. You can pick your network news. You're gonna go into that scenario knowing there's going to be a specific bent to what you're getting. Are there any places right now that we can consume in television news where the bent doesn't exist, where you know there's not a predetermined lean, but maybe some places will be a little more focused on giving you the facts that just are quickly followed up by the opinion or the finger on the scale for one side of the argument or the other? I think Fox News does a really good job of presenting the facts, but of course that they have an enormous amount of conservative lean when they choose to put their opinion forward. They still have the Juan Williamses of the world, or the Geraldo. I don't even know where Geraldo Rivera is on half these issues anymore. I just know that he's combative. It seems as though he says things that make people want to punch him. I'm looking at this and I'm listening to the back and forth. You can go on CNN and read a whole bunch of news about Fox News. You can go on Fox News and read a whole bunch of news about CNN. I don't feel like people have kind of given up on MSNBC. Like it's there, it exists, but where are you going to go in the next 3 years, the next 10 years to get your news? Where can you get it from? I can list off 100 websites right now where people send me regularly news articles. And when I see, if it's sent to me and I see the source and it's like American Patriot EaglesForUs.com, I'm not reading it. I'm not going down that aisle because I know that before I go there, I know what the writer wants me to walk away with. And I know that what they don't want me to do is to think for myself, here's some facts. Here you go, Annie. Here are the facts. This is what you should know is happening, and it's facts. Now you take it from here and think what you think. Nobody trusts you to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. And when I'm looking at and reacting to people who are sending us stuff, so many compliments on our Dr. Hardeman segment that we've been doing for over a year, the number one compliment that this show gets when it comes to that type of content is thank you for just having real information. Thank you for just giving us factual information that isn't clouded in, this political angle or that political angle, or trying to, marginalize this advisor or this expert. It's just, here are the questions. And some of the questions, the one that always sticks with me was like earlier on when we were covering this, and somebody asked the question, does it help if I hold my breath when I pass somebody in the grocery store if they cough? And I remember Katie being like, I've wondered the same thing.
Absolutely.
And I know that I've done that before, like just in general, not even in COVID world. And like, those are the types of things, God, honestly, that people are worried about right now. That was then. You've got your questions now about vaccines. You've got your questions now about the antibodies that you have. You see Rand Paul has said that he is declining to get the vaccine. And then this is how news works. You've got Rand Paul declining to get the vaccine. You put it in a liberal hand to write that headline. Rand Paul refuses to get the vaccine. You see that one little word switch there is it's not about the vaccine and why I would say, if I saw, why would it be that Dr. Rand Paul would say, I don't want the vaccine? It has nothing to do with his belief in the efficacy of said vaccine. He's had COVID, and he, as a medical professional, has an understanding of his experience of having COVID, what that has done for his body, how that protects him in the future. And yes, even Rand Paul gets to make a personal choice about whether or not to get the vaccine or not. The story that is valuable to you as somebody who is making these same decisions is, should I get the vaccine? If you've been skeptical, should I go down the road and get this vaccine? Can I trust it? The media outlets out there that want to tell you that Rand Paul is refusing to get the vaccine wants you to think that there's a staunch, libertarian / Republican out there who is refusing the vaccine. It's a vaccine denier. I mean, there's all sorts of things that you can glean from a refusal to get the vaccine. But if you look at if you say medical professional who had COVID chooses to wait to get coronavirus vaccine, that's a whole different story, but it might be talking about the exact same factual thing. How many of you read headlines and not stories? I do. I read headlines all the time, and I'm like, nope, not in the mood for that. Nope, not in the mood for that. I could probably come up with an entire article that I could write by sourcing a dozen headlines from a dozen different publications and get the story just based on the word that they choose. Dr. Rand Paul refuses to get the vaccine. Dr. Rand Paul declines to get the vaccine. And yes, I'm saying Dr. Rand Paul because I think the doctor part in that is more important than the senator part in that, right? We are being played every way we turn so that they can incite emotion out of us instead of thought. They don't want you to think. The worst thing you can do on both sides of the aisle right now is think for yourself. They need you to think what they need you to think so that you vote for them. It's really that simple. It's really that shallow. And it is really, really annoying. And people like Chris Cuomo on CNN, he's not the only one, and it doesn't only happen on the left. People like Chris Cuomo who get to pick and choose their morality, what they're going to do, when they're going to do it, when it affects you and how you consume information, they are dangerous people. And I think they need to be called out. I thought Joe Concha did a good job. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, Dr. Scott Hardeman is going to be with us, and we're going to do what we do. Ryan and I are going to ask him questions about the latest in COVID and vaccines and masking and so on and so forth. And we're going to take your questions that you can put in the live chat on the Annie Fry Show Facebook page or the Annie Fry YouTube channel, and we will funnel those to him at about 12:45. So get those questions coming in. We will take them and field them to the doctor in just a minute with some straight news, some straight facts from a medical opinion. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The world has come between us.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Between us. Still, I know you just don't care.
Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Breakfast at Tiffany, she said.
Hi, Chad Hansen with Hansen's Tree Service and Environmental Resources. Spring is a great time to refresh your garden and landscape. At Hansen's, we manufacture a full line of garden and landscape products that are perfect for your outdoor project. Pick up any of our products at World Outdoor Emporium, Kirkwood Materials, or a Hansen's location near you.
Would you like something beautiful you can wear every day? How about fine jewelry that'll add color and sparkle to your Zoom calls? Come to Shane Company and check out all our gorgeous new spring styles. Add an update and bring some cheer to your spring wardrobe. We have so many new looks to choose from. We're especially excited to introduce jewelry in trending new materials, like our 14-karat gold hoop earrings with colorful enamel accents. Our mineral charms are designed to really highlight the beauty of the natural stones. Choose black onyx or green malachite. Layer them with our 14-karat gold chains to create an on-trend look. When it comes to the classics, we're experts. For generations, we've been perfecting these styles, like diamond stud earrings, tennis bracelets, 14-karat gold bangles, cultured pearl jewelry, and more. Visit us today and get something delightful for yourself.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is a no-charge appraisal? It's never asking for a credit card or charging for a home appraisal if we can't close your loan.
No risk on refinancing, but I live for danger.
With our rates at a low 2.25%, refinancing with Golden Oak is anything but risky business. Get started today at goldenoaklending.com.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit. 11737 Administration Drive, St. Louis, Missouri.
Take a moment and rate your lifestyle on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is a life that's nothing like the life you were promised after getting good grades, a college degree, and a good job in corporate America. 10 is the life of your dreams. If you answered anything less than a 10, tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Tune in to the Del Walmsley Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. Weeknights at 7 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for Legacy Box, the effortless way to have your outdated media digitally preserved on a modern format. Think back to when maybe you were married. You have pictures, maybe some videotapes and other things that you haven't seen in years. Wouldn't you like to preserve that? Legacy Box can help. This is an idea, too. You can give the gift of memories this year for an anniversary that you and your spouse will never forget. Do it kind of on the QT. Get some of these videos and pictures and present something amazing. Legacy Box can help you. So it's a very easy process from start to finish. You pack and send. Their team digitizes everything by hand, and then you enjoy. You get back perfectly preserved digital copies on a thumb drive, DVD, or the cloud, ready to watch, share, and enjoy. And Legacy Box is making it very easy for 97.1 listeners, offering 40% off so your family can celebrate meaningful moments at a fraction of the normal price. Go to legacybox.com/Mark and get started today. That's legacybox.com/Mark for 40% off. legacybox.com/Mark.
So if you're looking for somebody to help you put some pieces together about your future, if you're looking for somebody who can help you navigate those legal questions that make sure that everything you've worked hard for, everything that you've accumulated, is going to be preserved after you are no longer here, and it's going to go to the places that you want, you need Rudy Beck, Jay Lennox, and Carolyn Diker at Beck & Lennox Estate Planning and Elder Law. They can help you put together your will, your power of attorney, and they can also help you establish a trust. Something to help you avoid probate, which is a very public thing to go through. Ask them the questions that you have. They'll help you ask the questions you won't even think to ask, and they will get you on the place and onto the road where you will be in a place to have peace of mind. You can call their office at 636-946-7899. And in addition to that type of estate planning, they have elder law experts as well. Long-term care planning, nursing home care, all of this, they wrap this all up together for you in a bow to give you confidence moving forward. 636-946-7899, online at beckelderlaw.com.
Information to keep you moving. Dependable traffic mornings and afternoons with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
Don't think I've ever seen your kind of pretty. Wandering around this midnight madhouse city. You got a look that says you got it all together. So if you don't mind, I'd like to know you better. Take me the...
You heard what President Biden said. Other Democrats said that I had issued a death warrant. And then, as you pointed out, we continue to have a decline in deaths after we open up 100% until we reach that mark of a day with 0 deaths. And hospitalizations continue to go down even more. The number of cases and positivity rate continue to go down even more. Yesterday was the lowest positivity rate that we've had on record during the history of the entire pandemic. And so it shows that the right move was to make sure that we did open up, get things back to normal.
So that's Governor of Texas, Governor Abbott, talking about what we heard, originally was coined Neanderthal thinking from the president. He removed the mask mandate. A reminder to everybody that a mask mandate only tells you have to wear a mask. If the mask mandate goes away, you absolutely can still wear a mask if you choose to. Personal choice. It's just wonderful, isn't it? And so here we are looking at Texas weeks out of this decision. And what do we have to show for it? Let's talk to Dr. Scott Hardeman about it. He joins us each Monday, has been for over a year, to give us the medical reaction to what is going on in the midst of this pandemic. Dr. Hardeman, welcome back to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much. Nice to talk to you guys again.
Of course. So let me ask you, studying what's been going on state to state to state to state, a lot of different case studies that we've been able to look at over the course of 14 months or so of dealing with this on the home front. Texas is a pretty positive story here for the United States to be looking at, and that probably exists in other states as well.
Yeah, it does. I think there's always, once we've gotten to that initial phase of this, start to understand a bit more of it, there's going to be those individuals or states that have sort of leaned more on the sort of civil liberties side and given people the freedom to wear masks or not to wear masks, and have put in place some kind of targeted or common sense measures towards trying to mitigate the spread of the illness. But Texas, Florida, a few others, have gone down the path sooner than most at lifting some of those mandates. And fortunately, that is proving to be a good decision. And I think being able to target responses to potential outbreaks here and there will be helpful. But with case numbers low, with positivity rate low, as they were saying, I haven't seen the exact numbers in Texas to know what their positivity rate was, but to see them decline significantly and just the overall case numbers down 24% week over week here, most recently in the United States, that's a really good trend. And I hope that carries over to start seeing easing of some of these precautions in other states and communities as well.
Doctor, I want to ask you this question because this is the big COVID story of the day, but I want to get a response from you from your medical expertise regarding the origin of coronavirus. How does the medical community, the people who are researching, where this came from and how that would, I would assume that where it came from could potentially help us combat it or something similar to it in the future, whether it came from a bat or a wet market or a manufactured situation in a lab, is that information that is medically necessary to help us combat it in the future?
Well, I think that's a little hard to answer. I would say generally, if this was something that, to take one extreme, were produced in a lab and there was research that was taking place on upgrading its virulence, et cetera, and it escapes, I think there's some real value in knowing that story because it potentially helps to then develop strategies or medications or vaccines that can then slow the spread of it again. If it's something that's kind of had a species to species jump and did develop naturally in the world and sort of made its way into the human population, I think that's helpful also because it helps us understand the evolution of these viruses to be able to develop treatment for them. So it is useful. I'm not so sure in the end that we're ever really going to know the answer to that. There's commissions looking at that all the time, and there's strong theories one direction or the other. I think people kind of want to know just largely because this has impacted their life so much. But to be honest, I don't know that the dust will clear for that anytime soon, if not ever.
Dr. Hardeman, I'm going to ask you sort of a dangerous question here just because it involves me doing math. But I'm looking at 586,000 total deaths reported from COVID as of this month. 328 million Americans would seem something like a thousandth of a percent of Americans have died from COVID, something like that. Are we treating this differently because there have been so many more deaths as compared to other outbreaks, or have we just treated this one differently for a different reason? How do the numbers compare to other outbreaks?
Well, I think some of that depends on the official numbers versus what we think may be a projection of real numbers out there. So, I think it was roughly 35 million, we'll say, documented cases of this and 550 or so thousand deaths. You do the math on that and it's still kind of, rates in that sort of 1.2 to 1.5% range, but that's not taking into consideration the fact that most experts will acknowledge that there's probably closer to 100 million people that have had this. And so I think it's looked at for the raw numbers of just people that have suffered from this, for the potential of some long-term consequences of things related to the virus, even in those that didn't suffer terribly with this. But it's disproportionately affected certain groups of population so significantly, and it's in a concentrated period of time. So the excess numbers of deaths are definitely up year over year, and I think that's largely attributed to based upon coronavirus. I think once we have a clearer picture of this down the road, a little piece to look back and really have a true understanding and capturing the total numbers of cases, I think we'll get a clear snapshot of what the mortality rate associated with it is. But it's no question that it's just been kind of a concentrated period of time and a disproportionate hit to certain groups of individuals.
Speaking with Dr. Scott Hardeman, who's a physician at Gateway ENT and also urgent specialist, online at urgentspecialist.com. I am going to skip ahead a little bit and ask, I have a question that kind of melds with a comment that has been put up on our YouTube page from Jackie. I said, I had COVID last October, still dealing with loss of taste and smell, have not had the vaccine yet, mainly because I don't know if I still have antibodies and I'm kind of nervous about the vaccine. So the question that I was going to ask is, I heard Senator Rand Paul say, just in the last day or so, he's not going to get the vaccine because he had the virus and he thinks that that's the best thing for himself. What about those people who have had it? October is 7 months away. So how do they know they have antibodies? How can they find out if they have antibodies? And when should they maybe consider, okay, I think I've had it, I've been good for this amount of time, I should go back and get the vaccine now?
Well, there's a lot of pretty intense research and a lot of unknowns there. So I will sort of answer that, I guess, with just my perspective on what we do know. And that is that it seems like there are in a relatively healthy individual who we would anticipate mounts a normal immune response to wild type virus infection, that they have circulating antibody levels that are lasting 6 to 9 months out, maybe longer. We'll see more with every month. Obviously, that data is going to change. That's not the whole story. Obviously, there's a lot of discussion about T-cell immunity and being able to recognize virus in the future if you're exposed to it, to be able to mount an immune response to it. And there's a lot of validity to that, both with the natural illness and also with the vaccine as well. You can check antibody levels to that. You can check antibody levels almost anywhere now, looking to see what your status would be potentially to a vaccine response or also to the illness itself. And I think obviously if your antibody levels are high, you should still feel relatively confident that you're not going to see any kind of severity of illness if you're exposed to it again. But that's not the official position of our health experts that are recommending strongly for folks to get vaccinated. And there are some reasons for that. Obviously, I think one of those reasons I always like to bring up is that people don't get tested and assume they've had this, and they're convinced that they have it. So much so that they don't. In the end, you don't really know for certain, but they're confident that they are, and that may not necessarily be the case. So monitoring antibody levels is not unreasonable. They don't officially recommend doing that, but on an individual basis, one-off basis, it's certainly something you can do and move forward. What Dr. Paul said, I think, is true, though. I think if you've had this illness before and you have a normal immune response to that, you really should feel pretty confident that for the near future after that you're not going to be susceptible to any recurrent cases. And we just haven't, while there are recurrent cases out there, they're just not high numbers of those. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've reached this point with the low numbers, not just the vaccine effort, but the large numbers of people that have had this.
Doctor, are you willing to put loose, non-specific parameters on what you said you should feel confident about the near future? You had COVID. You could wait about this much amount of time, and then you should maybe start considering where your immunity levels fall.
Yeah, I think 6 months is a pretty good guesstimate. Initially, when the vaccines first came out, there was some evidence that they were from a couple of large medical institutions. They were suggesting waiting 3 months to get vaccinated. It does seem as if the individuals that have had this, had the illness and get vaccinated may have more of those short-term side effects just because of my favorite word lately, the immunogenicity of the vaccine that kind of triggers your immune response. Immunogenicity of the vaccine. Yeah, it's sort of the latest buzzword that it induces such a strong immune response. But I think realistically, we know that there's solid evidence out there that most people have good antibody levels out to 6 months plus on it at this point.
Dr. Scott Hardeman, physician at Gateway ENT and urgent specialist with us. What can you tell us about the India variant? Saw a doctor on Fox News this morning saying that Pfizer should be effective against it. That's about all I know.
Yeah, not a lot of information. I think I may have read a similar study that they were quoting this morning that said that it's still the Pfizer vaccine still has about an 87% efficacy against that after the 2 doses, only about 30% after the first dose, which is a little different than what we've seen just here in kind of the UK variant or the initial strains here, where it was actually quite high after the first dose, and then that second dose bumped it up just a small percentage more. But in this case, it seems as if the vaccines and the antibodies responding to that, at least in Pfizer's case, are still very beneficial at preventing the severity of the illness.
let's take a quick break here. We got people commenting their questions right now on the live stream, and invite you to do the same as well for Dr. Scott Hardeman, who's joining us on a weekly basis to give us the answers to your questions. Here's what you got to do. Facebook.com/Annie Fry Show. Go log on the Facebook page and you'll see that we are broadcasting live right there, and you can participate in the chat. Just put question for the doc. Tell us what your question is, and we will field as many as we can when we come back. If you prefer to use YouTube, the Annie Fry YouTube channel is the same way. You go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, you see the live broadcast right there, live chat, comment your question, and we will get to as many as we can when we return. You're listening to the Annie Fry Show right here on 97.1 FM Talk. We'll be right back.
Take me the long way around your town. Were you the queen?
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show.
I want the
Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Fry Show.
underneath of the diamond I think I just found. Take me the long way around.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Get guaranteed hours year-round, up to $25,000 signing bonus, and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
If your home needs an upgrade, don't get frustrated, get solutions. Call Lakeside Renovation and Design to transform your space into the home of your dreams. Our custom carpentry work has been wowing homeowners for over 20 years. Whether you want a deck or porch, a gorgeous sunroom, a remodeled basement, or more, our award-winning team does it all with in-house skilled carpenters. We even stand behind our work with a lifetime workmanship warranty. Request a free consultation at 636-978-5000. You'll love your home all over again.
It's been a while since I've talked to you about the Chrysler Pacifica that I purchased from Cassins. I'll tell you, as my family is growing, I'm so glad that we still have room to grow into our Pacifica. When we purchased our Pacifica from Cassins Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in October of 2019, we had no idea at that point in time that there was a pandemic ahead of us. We had no idea that there was another baby ahead of us. But the Pacifica has fit us in each drastic change that has affected our lives. We purchased the model that has 8 seats in it. I don't know if you knew that you could get a Pacifica with 8 seats, 3 in the middle row, 3 in the back row, with a removable middle seat in the middle row. It has been so great for our family, especially in these times where we've spent a little extra time in the car in the last year, just trying to get out of the house. The entertainment package that comes with it is fantastic and has kept my kids quiet and happy and entertained while my husband and I got some quiet time. Yes, we had to get into the Pacifica during the pandemic several times just to get quiet time. We've all done what we've had to do to cope, right? If you're interested in a Chrysler Pacifica or in any vehicle that you've been shopping for a while and you want a trustworthy place to go to Cassins. You can find them online at cassinscan.com.
And now, a telemedicine appointment without AT&T Business Fiber.
I don't know. Hey, Doc. So, what's the prognosis?
Well, based on your chart, it looks like you have.
Wait, what was that?
Sorry, I was just saying.
Doc, you're glitching. Must be slow upload speeds.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I just wish I'd known the difference between upload and download speeds before I got my business internet. Anyway, I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
My leg.
Oh, right. It's fine, except for a small...
Wait, except for what?
Terrible.
Is your small business suffering from slow upload speeds? Upgrade your business to AT&T Business Fiber for superior reliability and speed at our lowest price ever. There's no annual term commitment and no bundle required. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/businessfast or call 844-647-FAST now.
Hi, it's Michael Mohan with Community Mortgage. Interest rates are still at historic lows. If you have not taken advantage of today's low rates, what are you waiting for? I get calls all the time from people using online and national lenders. They question the fine print, need clarification, and want somebody to talk them through the steps. This is the personal service I offer. Whether you are looking to refinance or purchase, call an experienced local lender. Call me, Michael Mohan, at 314-336-6050. Call today while interest rates are still at historic lows. 314-336-6050. 314-336-6050. 314-336-6050. or online at communitymortgagestl.com. When you call, you'll speak to me.
Community Mortgage LLC, 224-143, NMLS 250353.
97.1 FM Talk is now streaming on the Odyssey app. It's your home for streaming The Mark Cox Show, Brian Kilmeade, The Annie Fry Show, and Mark Reardon on your phone. The Odyssey app for streaming 97.1 FM Talk.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for spending some time with us here on a Monday. We're glad you're here. We are joined, as we are each Monday, by Dr. Scott Hardeman, who is a physician at Gateway ENT, also an urgent specialist. All right, doctor, we've got some questions coming in. Are you ready to answer them?
I am. Let's give it a go.
All right, Ryan, go ahead.
This question comes from Christopher on the Annie Fry Facebook stream. Is the knowledge gained studying viruses in animals worth the risk of outbreak?
Interesting question. Yes, I think so, because we don't necessarily have all the natural knowledge of how those things make those jumps regardless. And so being able to do virus research, bacterial research, sort of in a clinical setting or bench research like that gives us knowledge on how to respond to that when these things happen in the natural world. That's a different take on it, I think, than if we're tempting fate, shall we say, and trying to modify viruses and create, super organisms like that. But and there's research in the bioweapon area taking place in that regard too. And so I would say that's a dangerous precedent. But as far as just doing bench research on what happens to viruses and how they make species transitions or how they become more virulent, I think that's very beneficial, knowing because it's probably going to happen at some point just through human evolution.
Doctor, this is a question sent to the Annie Fry Show Facebook page from Michael. The question is, what are the current numbers for efficacy for 2-dose vaccines after the first dose and the second dose? So if you are going to get one that requires 2 doses, how effective is it after the first dose and then additionally after the second?
Yeah, I think some of that, to answer that question, it varies a little bit based upon the variants. But as a general rule, I would say that 1 dose of vaccine provides in excess of 70% efficacy at preventing severe illness, and that bumps up significantly with the second dose. Initially, there were some early comments out there and studies out there that suggested that maybe the first go-round was in the mid-80s or so, and it bumped up, into the mid-90s, 90 to 94% or so with the second go-round. But I think it kind of plays out that it's well over 50, 60%, but obviously that second boost of vaccine, sort of the first one primes your immune system, the second one really sort of kicks in and develops that strong neutralizing antibody level.
Dr. Scott Hardeman, physician at Gateway ENT and urgent specialist, answering your questions. This one from Rosanna. What have you heard regarding the CDC looking into reports of heart inflammation among young vaccine recipients?
Yeah, I figured that was probably going to come up on one of the questions today. So that kind of hit the media over the weekend. It's sort of the latest in a line of things that might be cerebral clotting and what have you with the J&J vaccine a while ago. There seem to be a couple of dozen case reports out there now of younger adolescents, or younger kids, I should say, in adolescence, young adults that developed cardiac inflammatory response. Myocarditis or an inflammation is known to be a viral problem. It happens with other viral illnesses, some more so than other. And there's a background number of those, 10 to 20 or so per 100,000 people in the population does happen. And so these few cases, handful of cases, have been identified within 4 days of the receiving the vaccine. And so they're not pausing, but they're trying to determine if this is directly vaccine related or if this is kind of a normal occurrence based on the fact that so many people in that age group are getting vaccinated now.
Don, on our YouTube channel, the Annie Fry YouTube channel, could the drop in numbers be a combination of vaccinations, natural immunity, built immunity, and being outside?
I would say that's probably 100% correct. There's a lot of things we know about this now and a lot of things that we don't. And I think it's a combination of all these efforts. I think that people have sacrificed a lot to mitigate the spread of the illness, kids, adults alike, over the past year. Natural immunity obviously takes a part in this. And then, of course, the vaccine effort as well. I would just clarify on one comment that we've vaccinated roughly 50% of the eligible population out there now. And of course, that number just increased because we added in the 12-year-old and up with the Pfizer vaccine. So there are many people who've been vaccinated who already had the illness as well. And so it's not just that we've seen X number of cases and X number of vaccines. There's some carryover of that. But I think it's a pretty fair statement that, if you were to combine those two, you're probably in excess of 65% of the population now who's either had it been vaccinated or just simply had it at this point.
Question from the Annie Fry YouTube live stream. Are masks 100% useless against the slowing of the spread of the disease? Are they just for show? This question is from Kevin.
Yeah, that's a hard one to answer. I think that there is evidence that mask wearing in general, if you're sick in particular, and you're coughing and where you're shedding more virus, either through droplet transmission or aerosolizing, that it does decrease the potential of that sort of viral load that gets passed off to someone else. I wouldn't go so far as to say that they're useless by any means. I think that maybe we put a little too much emphasis on them in the grand scheme of things. And we've always talked about just, how the quality of the masks and whether they're dirty and, if you're touching things and putting them up by your face, what implication that has as far as transmitting illness. But the masks are generally effective at slowing down large droplet transmission. I think they're probably most beneficial if it's a better quality mask. And also if you're acutely ill, that it would tend to make things better from a source perspective. And then of course, N95 masks have better filtration capacity. They're awful to wear. If you've ever put one on and spent any time like we do in the operating room, sometimes they're difficult to wear because you can't breathe them very effectively. Those obviously help as an individual. If you're exposed to someone, I think it does filter out some of the virus at that point.
Jackie on the Annie Fry Show Facebook page says, should we focus more on T cells, when she says longer term, from my understanding, than antibodies?
Well, I think our immune system is very smart. It has that initial phase. When you are exposed to an illness like this, in this particular case, you want a response to that is pretty profound and aggressive early on to try and neutralize or kill the majority of the virus off before much of it has a chance to bind to the cells and take hold and start to inflict its cellular damage. There is a huge component of that is neutralizing antibody related that binds up these viruses and sort of clears them from the system. But there's also nonspecific T cell immunity early on that flies in there and sort of blows these virus particles up so that they don't have a chance to do that. I think in this case, she's really getting to the question of sort of the memory of what our immune system has been exposed to. And T cell immunity is an important part of it. We have to stimulate that sometimes. You do want those antibody responses, but that's where the concept of boosters come in. It sort of pings your immune system again so that it can develop higher levels of antibody response early so that when you are exposed to the virus, it's less likely to take hold. I wouldn't say we need to focus all on T cell, but it's a huge component of it for sure. And I think it's a very important part of it because it is what holds the storage of prior infection.
Dr. Scott Hardeman on the phone answering your COVID-related medical questions. This one is from Larry. Is it true the vaccine kills off natural immunity that was created by having the virus? My wife and I recovered last June, got the vaccine, and both were very sick for several days this past week.
Well, I'm going to say there's nothing conclusive that that's the case. And to be honest, I can't really get a sense of why that would be a concern. I know that there's a lot that circulates out there, part of which is what kind of fueled from being able to donate convalescent plasma. If you've been vaccinated, you can't do that at this point, what all that means. I honestly can't think of a real mechanism of action that makes sense that would neutralize your own natural immunity to the virus if you've received a vaccine. If you already had it, got vaccinated, I just don't see that would really be the case.
Just a follow up to that question: what is it that causes people who have had COVID, who get the vaccine, to potentially have a more adverse reaction?
When they get the vaccine, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the theory behind that, which is probably justified, is that your immune system has been primed already. So think of it as sort of a big booster. The early, which about 50% of people that get the vaccines do have more than just, say, a sore arm where the shot went in. They tend to have some more systemic symptoms of that, from joint pain, back pain, muscle aches, maybe a low-grade fever. The general viewpoint is just that is just sort of a sign of your immune response kicking in, developing antibodies to that. So if you've already had the virus, you're triggering your immune system again and can have a bit more of a profound response to that.
That makes sense. Crystal on our Annie Fry YouTube channel said, is there a logical reason they have not given local family physicians access to administer the vaccine? So many people would probably trust the personal physician more than anyone.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think that's a very, very good statement. And I think especially as we inch this into the pediatric population, I think people have, some hesitancy and some concern just based upon the new nature of this as it goes into younger population. They feel like, well, my pediatrician, my family physician knows my kids. They know their health status. They know us as parents if we're calling in complaining a lot or if we're not and what that means. I think there's some validity, and it would go a long way to having things recommended by your pediatrician and being able to have a central place where you can report any concerns that you may have after that. The practical sense of that, I think, is just there's been an effort to get it distributed far and wide where the most people can be vaccinated early, and which is rolling it out to hospitals. They hold large vaccination clinics, and now it's sort of working itself out to other locations, into urgent cares and minute clinics, walk-in places as well. I think we'll see it in pediatrician's office and primary care doctor's offices over a period of time. Some of it has to do with just some of the storage capacities of one vaccine versus the other. Some have to be stored colder. They also, once you open them, have a relatively short shelf life. So there's a certain number of doses in each vial. And so as you open those, it would take some logistical effort, I guess, to try and coordinate a number of people coming in so vaccines don't go unused.
From the Annie Fry Facebook page, and this is from Lisa. I hear that the Johnson & Johnson is not an mRNA vaccine, but I hear that it is more similar to mRNA vaccines than not. I was planning on getting that one because it wasn't an mRNA vaccine. Can you add any clarification?
I can. We've had interesting discussions about this with just friends and family over the weekend. So if you do a little Googling out there, they'll kind of call the two that we know about, the Moderna and Pfizer, as the mRNA vaccines. And they list the J&J vaccine as sort of an adenovirus vector vaccine. The reality is that they work very similarly, and in practical sense, they do the same thing. So the mRNA vaccines that are out there, that we administer that genetic code to teach our cells to produce spike protein into the cells using those adjuvants, which are lipid nanoparticles that go in. In this case, we're administering a portion or segment of that is the J&J of DNA that has been reverse transcribed from the RNA, the virus, that spike protein. It's put into an inactivated virus, which transfers through the cell wall to deliver the package. And then your body then reverses that back into messenger RNA and carries it over to the cells to be able to produce the spike protein, which is the end game of all three of those vaccines and the AstraZeneca, which is very similar to J&J, is that we're introducing a subcomponent of the genetic code to teach our ribosomes in our cells to produce the spike protein, which then we recognize as foreign, our immune system does, and now it's immune response to that. So is it technically mRNA? No, but it is very similar in the concept of how it's manipulating the genetic code of the spike protein.
Interesting. We're speaking with Dr. Scott Hardeman, answering your questions coming from the live broadcast on our Facebook and YouTube page. Jackie, following up from her question from earlier, says, and I think this is interesting, so I'm guessing my side effects of smell and taste distortion and loss is not an indication that I have antibodies or not. If you've got those lingering effects lasting post-COVID, is there any relation to how long your effects last, how strong they are, and your antibodies?
I've seen nothing in the literature about that whatsoever. I would say generally no. In the case of the damage to the olfactory or smell-related nerves related to the coronavirus, it really is some of the supporting cells around those olfactory or smell nerves that become damaged with this. Not unique to this particular coronavirus, but seems to be more common in this as a side effect of the illness itself, and is not directly tied to your circulating antibody response. No.
Okay. A lot of great questions today. We appreciate everybody who sent them in, and I am just so impressed with how you know all this stuff about this specific virus. It's ever changing. I mean, has this been something unprecedented for you in your medical experience as a doctor?
It completely, yeah. I don't know that I'll ever see anything like this again. And to be honest, I've kind of nerded out over the whole thing and just find it really fascinating, the science behind it and our response, but also just, sort of the social implications of it. So, we're all becoming experts on this just because we're inundated with the 24-hour news cycle. But this is very unique, and probably, I hope I never see anything like this again in my career.
Yep, we're with you, and we're so grateful that you've been with us for this past year. Listeners, appreciate you. They tell us all week how much they appreciate you, and we certainly do as well. Dr. Hardeman, thank you so much. Good to talk to you again.
Thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your day.
You as well. If you're looking for an ENT, check out Dr. Hardeman at Gateway ENT, also at Urgent Specialists, online at urgentspecialist.com. I mean, really, we do hear from you folks on a regular basis about how much you appreciate that straight information and being able to ask some of those questions that, there are no stupid questions, because we have so many people advising us in so many ways, and it feels like people advising us in ways on a major medical issue because they want us to think a political way. That sucks. We're going to take a quick break. Stephen Moore is going to join us when we come back. We're going to talk about inflation. Is that going to happen? He'll tell us in just a minute. Don't go away.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Stewart's American Mortgage, home of the bagel loan, the guy you go to when you want to save your hard-earned money. Why would you not have called Stewie by now? I don't care why you didn't call him now, but I'm going to give you his phone number right now. This is his phone number. This is the cell phone in his pocket, so that you can say, Annie keeps yakking at me about this bagel loan and I need to know if it can help me. If you have a mortgage rate right now that's in the 3s, you need to call Stewie. If you're looking to purchase a home, you can't afford not to call Stewie. The bagel loan has no lender fees. When you're purchasing a home, that bagel loan has no lender fees, no closing costs, no title fees, no costs at all. This is going to save you money. Put that extra money on the offer to the house to make sure you secure the bid. He's closing in 2 weeks. That's a crazy close time. You're going to be a super competitive buyer and a smart refinancer when you call 314-324-4440. That's his number. That's his cell phone. Call him today. 314-324-4440. Call my friend Stewie. You can Google the bagel loan to find out more information. NMLS number 226715.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next project with 11% off everything. Keep your plants happy with Schultz All-Purpose Liquid Plant Food from our Garden Center. The easy-to-use formula feeds every time you water and encourages new growth for all plants. All Schultz plant foods are 11% off now at Menards. Good through May 31st. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
What makes for a great vacation? Depends on who you ask. Are you looking to get away or bring everyone together? Do you want to get outside and play or see a play at the plate? Fortunately, however you operate, I'm the destination you've been looking for. The name's Missouri, but you can call me Mo. And I have just one question. What's your MO? Come see me at visitmo.com.
Brought to you by the Missouri Division of Tourism.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
Year makes. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The U.S. may finally be turning a corner in the COVID-19 pandemic.
For the first time in almost a year, the country is reporting an average of fewer than 30,000 new infections per day, with COVID-related deaths and hospitalizations also on the decline. According to the CDC, more than 85% of Americans 65 and older have received at least one dose of COVID vaccine.
Fox's Jonathan Seri. A split decision by the two biggest school districts in the U.S. Mayor Bill de Blasio says New York City schools will no longer offer remote learning this fall.
September's a whole different ballgame. A lot of parents said to me, let us know as soon as possible. I'm letting you know as soon as possible.
let's all come back. We're ready.
And he says there's time for more age-eligible kids to be vaccinated before then. The Los Angeles Unified School District also plans to be back full-time this fall, but also still plans to offer an online option for students or staff who have health reasons not to come in person, for instance, an immune-compromised family member at home. President Biden just announcing $1 billion pledge to help states, territories, and tribes prepare for extreme weather. That's double the current funding as he visits FEMA headquarters ahead of the hurricane season that officially begins next week. The U.S. wants an international probe of what Belarus did yesterday, diverting a Ryanair flight that was headed to Lithuania and arresting an opposition journalist.
We certainly, since you gave me the opportunity to do this, condemn the Lukashenko's regime's ongoing harassment and arbitrary detention of journalists simply for doing their job.
White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki calls it a shocking act. The UN Secretary General calls the incident disturbing, also demanding a full investigation. America is listening to Fox News.
Do not hire Franklin & Sons Electrical. The guy told me he'd shrink my monthly bill, and I'm like, dude, it's too small to read as it is.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then he's like, where's the circuit breaker? I'm like, bro, I didn't break anything.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
He told me I had a blown fuse. It's called a short fuse, and yes, I do have one, so watch yourself.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Want the truth on why I wake up looking so darn awesome? I take care of my skin. Not just my face, but more intimate skin. And when you've got incontinence, you sure need to.
Tena Intimates pads lock liquid in and are now 100% breathable to care for your intimate skin, day or night. Tena Intimates are now endorsed by the Skin Health Alliance. Visit tenasample.com for your free sample. Kind to skin, protect like Tena.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly sunny skies on this Monday afternoon. Not a lot of change in temperature. That early summer feel. 89-90 for the high. Moderate humidity. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Evening temperatures take that drop out of the 80s. 68 for the low on Tuesday. Partly sunny and windy, though clouds will tend to be on the increase Tuesday afternoon. A couple of spotty showers, but I think they're going to be hard to find on Tuesday afternoon. 84. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Tune in to Right at Home with Rich every Saturday from noon to 1 p.m. This Mosby Building Arts Home Show covers topics ranging from design and architecture to remodeling and home maintenance. For answers to all of your home questions, don't miss Right at Home with Rich, brought to you by Mosby Building Arts.
Is your credit card debt piling up? Pacific Debt can help. Pacific Debt is the nation's friendliest debt settlement company. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star reviews on sites like Trustpilot and Best Company, they can settle your debt for a fraction of what you owe. In fact, they've settled over $300 million, helping people just like you. Get a monthly program payment you can afford and zero upfront fees. Get free information now. 800-281-9981. 800-281-9981.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
If you've listened to 97.1 FM Talk, you have heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple on the station as the financial expert for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend on 97.1 FM Talk. And in case you miss any of those shows, on his podcasts on Odyssey.com and search Safe Money 97.1. So call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DH Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Warm weather's a great time to train a new puppy. Mark Cox here from my friends at Petland in Lake St. Louis. They've got the puppies. If you've had a hard time finding one, go to petlandstl.com or just pay them a visit. 6131 Ronald Reagan Drive out in Lake St. Louis. Puppies have been hard to come by, but the owners, Tom and Jeff, have amazing relationships. They can offer the best selection of puppies in Missouri. Again, 636-695-4503, petlandstl.com.
Meridian Waste is currently looking to hire talented CDL drivers for residential, roll-off, and commercial openings at their local office in Floresdale, Missouri. If you're interested in working for a growing company that offers a competitive salary, generous benefits that include paid vacation, please reach out today via phone at 314-227-7012 or email your resume to hr@meridianwaste.com for immediate consideration. Good driving record is a must. New drivers are eligible for a $2,500 sign-on bonus. Call today to secure your future and be home every night with your family.
Radio.com is now Odyssey. Download the Odyssey app to listen to 97.1 FM Talk and find content that moves you. The Odyssey app for 97.1 FM Talk on the go. The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, sis. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Happy Monday to you. An invitation to stream us on the Odyssey app. Find 97.1 FM Talk on your Odyssey app, and you can take us with you anywhere you go. So if you're just wrapping up from lunch and you want to take us back into the office, stream us right there on Odyssey. We are joined each Monday by a wonderful guest, Stephen Moore, and he is here with us again today, senior economic contributor at FreedomWorks. Stephen, welcome back to the show. Hope you had a great weekend.
Hi, Annie. I did. I mean, I was just glued to the tube today and watching Nicholson, and it's just for old people like me. I'm 60. It was so awesome to see a 50-year-old win the PGA. So I'm doing really well. I hope you had a great weekend too.
Yes, lefties and 50-plus year olds rejoicing this weekend and finding some hope in Phil Mickelson's victory.
There you go.
let's talk about an area where it would be nice to have a victory. I'm reading a headline right here. Biden will, quote, change course on infrastructure if bipartisan negotiations falter. When you've been watching this infrastructure bill be debated and you've heard President Biden suggest he wants bipartisanship, most of the bipartisanship I viewed was he's waiting for Republicans to agree to his terms. I haven't seen a lot of negotiating. Have you seen the negotiating, and do you think there's hope for some sort of bipartisan deal?
Well, I mean, it doesn't seem like just yesterday that Joe Biden was saying, "Oh, we're going to have unity and we're all going to unite and it's all going to be bipartisanship." Of course, nothing has been bipartisan yet. And look, let's step back a minute. I missed you last week, so we haven't talked in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. The economy is really reared up for a big boom because we've got the vaccine out to just about anybody who wants it all over the country. In fact, most places are giving it away for free now. You can walk up and get a 24 hours. And, if you're over the age of, 30, you're probably over 35, you should probably get the vaccine. And then we got our businesses reopening, Annie, all over the country, from coast to coast, from Maine to California. The small businesses are back, and that's all a very, very positive thing to see. So I'm optimistic about that. The trouble I'm seeing right now is twofold. One is businesses can't get their workers back on the job, small businesses. I talk to restaurant owners. I talk to people who run construction sites. I talk to people who run, mom and pop stores. And they're all telling me the same thing. Biggest problem they have right now is they can't compete with Uncle Sam providing all these welfare benefits and unemployment benefits that are paying them more not to work than to work. And the other problem we've got right now, and this ties into your question, Annie, about this infrastructure bill. We are now seeing inflation. The dreaded I word is back. And this is having a very negative effect on consumers. I'm seeing it in the gas prices here in the Washington, D.C. area. We're seeing it in food prices, produce, meat prices are rising. Try to buy an airline ticket. Those are going up in price. So this is a big problem. By the way, higher gas prices and higher food prices, that's a tax. That's a tax on American consumers. It means the paycheck that you get is worth less because everything costs more. And now, then the question, of course, is why are we seeing this inflation? And Annie, I think you know the answer to that question. Because we're spending too much money in Washington, we're borrowing too much money in Washington, we're printing trillions of dollars, and it makes no sense. It is really inflaming this inflation right now, and that's a problem. So, to answer your question, should we spend $2 trillion more that we can't afford on another infrastructure bill? Hell no, we shouldn't. We shouldn't spend a penny more. If we need to spend more money on roads, bridges, fixing potholes, I'm all for that. But why don't you take the money you've already got and redirect the $2 trillion for COVID relief that's not necessary and stop paying $300 a week unemployment benefit bonuses to people and use that money to fix roads and bridges. So what do you think about that, Annie?
Yeah, it sounds sensible, which means it probably won't happen that way.
Well,
It probably
Stephen,
won't
let me
happen,
ask
right.
you, let me ask you this. The infrastructure thing is something that even Trump was trying to get through. So there's bipartisan support for something, but can you make an argument that, that was 2019. Now we've spent $6 trillion. Maybe we don't do infrastructure right now.
Look, I've been driving around. There are a lot of potholes. There's a lot of construction projects that need to get done. But I do feel very strongly that we don't need to be spending new money. In other words, what Washington doesn't do is reprogram the money. I mean, we've got money slashing around out there. We just approved a $2 trillion spending bill that's not completely unnecessary. COVID is over. COVID is over, folks. And why are we paying people not to work? So my feeling is, and one other quick thing, don't fall for this trick of, Democrats want to spend money on infrastructure. They don't want to spend money on infrastructure. They want to spend money on the Green New Deal, right? I mean, if you look at that bill that they put forward, do you know what percentage of the money, do either of you guys know what percentage of the money actually goes for roads and bridges?
I think it's like, I'm guessing, I'm reaching back into the archives here. Is it like 7%?
Yes. Well, somewhere between 6 and 10%. So you're spot on, Annie. Well, come on, we can't afford a bill. So then the question is, what's all the other money for? Oh, windmills, electric cars, solar paneling, all these things that have nothing to do with fixing our infrastructure. By the way, there's money for the IRS in the infrastructure bill. I'm not making this up. How is the IRS infrastructure?
It's really unbelievable to see how frequently these things, the name of the bill, that's how you know what it is least affecting.
Exactly.
The Biden administration, led by, the squad, has been very aggressive in talking about the Green New Deal. Some more moderate Democrats have maybe pushed back a little bit on vocalizing it as much, but they're saying the quiet part out loud is significantly. And if you listen carefully, you're going to be able to hear this Green New Deal. That's the be all end all for this administration, it seems.
And by the way, you're so right about that. And how about this, Annie, that, do you know what Joe Biden's first executive order was when he got into the Oval Office?
There have been so many, Stephen. I've lost track.
The first one was killing the Keystone Pipeline.
Oh, yeah.
So why do I bring that up? Because did you see what Biden did last week?
Yeah, Russia did. That's for sure.
So, I mean, Annie, my head is spinning around on this one. Wait a minute. We're not going to build an infrastructure project, a pipeline project that we need here in the United States so we can get our oil and gas from up in Canada and North Dakota, down in Texas, throughout the whole country. But we are going to approve a pipeline in Russia to get, this oil and gas to Europe and to China and other countries. I mean, somebody please explain that one to me, because maybe it's above my pay grade. I don't understand how that's putting America first. As I look at it, it's putting America last.
Stephen Moore, as you said, it's been a couple of weeks since we've talked to you. I think one of the things that we've seen a lot in the last couple of weeks that I just wanted to hear your opinion on, red states mostly are refusing the federal benefit, the extra unemployment benefit. Are we creating even more of a divide between red state economies and blue state economies now?
Well, you read my mind again, because I just wrote in our hotline this morning an item on exactly this topic, where the unemployment rate, we have now, I'm trying to remember the exact number. I think there's 8 states that still have unemployment rates above 7%. And guess what color those 8 states are?
Blue.
blue. They're all blue states with Democratic governors that lock down their economy. And then you've got I think 10 states now that have unemployment rates less than 4%, which is full employment, right? And those are all red states, with states like Utah, states like Idaho, states like Tennessee, and so on. And so you are seeing this divide, and you are spot on correct that. By last count, because today 2 more Republican governors said they don't want the $300 a week on extra unemployment benefit numbers. And so now we have 24 Republican governors who said, stop sending us money to pay people not to work. And I think there's only 2 or 3 Republican governors who are still taking that money, and they're kind of liberal Republicans. By the way, in Missouri, what's your situation there?
Parson I think a week or 2 ago, we had him on the show, and he elected, I think it goes into effect like maybe June 10th or something, but those like benefits are going to go away. Yeah.
That's right. And so that's important. Look, I think all of us agree. I mean, I think all Americans agree. It's, unemployment insurance is important. I've lost jobs. I don't know if you guys have ever lost a job. I've lost jobs, and, you fall on tough times, and you don't want people when they lose their jobs to go hungry or to lose their home or their apartment. And so, unemployment insurance makes sense. But folks, what we're doing now, I mean, I'm doing a study with this guy, Casey Mulligan, who's one of the top economists in the country at University of Chicago. We estimate if you include the unemployment insurance benefits, the food stamps, the free health care, the rental assistance, all of these benefits, because welfare is a series of, 7 or 8 different programs, you can get up to $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year tax-free. So, every business I talk to, every businessman and woman I talk to said, you know what, we cannot get our workers back on the job. So this is a big problem. And by the way, the businesses that are hurt the most by this are the small businesses, the restaurants and the little mom and pop shops and the construction sites that, these independent contractors, they can't get their workers back. And then Joe Biden's asked about it. He said, no, we don't think unemployment insurance is deterring people to work. It's like, wait a minute. If you pay, this is an economics 100 lesson, right? If you tax something, you get less of it. And if you subsidize something, you get more of it. We're subsidizing unemployment. And there's no work requirements now with unemployment insurance. At least in the old days, you could get the unemployment insurance for like 8 to 10, 12 weeks, but then you had to get back in the workforce. We're not requiring that now.
Yeah, it is counterintuitive, and it seems so obvious. You wonder why they don't understand.
That's putting it lightly.
Yeah.
But it is not just counterintuitive. It's crazy. Come on, I think any person would agree with us that it doesn't make sense to pay people more for staying at home and watching Netflix than the truckers and the people working in the nursing homes and the hospitals and the delivery people and the people at the grocery store. I mean, that's just craziness. It makes no sense. Only a liberal could come up with these kinds of ideas.
Real quick before we let you go, I saw you through some mutual connections. You've been in Chicago lately working with some people who are trying to get Illinois back on track. I just want to get your thoughts on the direction Illinois is headed right now, and any advice that you have for people who are out there who are voters, who are looking at the future of Illinois and wondering if Illinois is still going to be in their future.
Capable. Well, Illinois is a perfect example of really, really, really bad leadership. I mean, Putzker, I call him Putzker, is a truly terrible governor, and he doesn't understand anything about the economy. He's done a great disservice to the people of Illinois. He has had one of the harshest lockdowns. It's done great damage to the workers and the businesses in that state. And then you got one of the worst mayors in America in Lightfoot in Chicago. Who, did you see her latest thing? She said she's only going to take press questions from media people of color. You can't make this stuff up, folks. I mean, gee, whatever happened to, judging people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And so, look, but I was there I was in Glen Ellen, Illinois, last week. And I got to tell you, we had a dinner there, and I spoke, and some others. People are fired up, Annie. People are ready for political change in Illinois. I think that state can be saved. I really do. I think we can turn it from blue to red. When I grew up in Illinois, because I'm from that area, it was a red state, and now it has turned so blue. But I think people are fed up, and I just feel it all over. I feel like 2022 is going to be exactly like 2010 and 1994. I think we're going to see a big red wave around the country.
I'm hoping it hits Illinois and hits it hard. Stephen Moore.
Yeah, right. If it can hit Illinois, it can hit anywhere, right?
Amen to that. That is for sure. Always great to talk to you. We appreciate your expertise here each Monday. Thanks for being here.
All right. We're going to be. Do you have a show on Memorial Day?
We will not. So we'll have to visit in a couple weeks. We'll see what has all come up in 2 weeks' time next time we speak.
Okay. See you guys. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. Take care.
You as well. Bye-bye. Senior economic contributor for FreedomWorks. You can find more online at Stephen Moore on Twitter, and check out his book, Trumponomics, Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. Yeah, man, it's full of energy, and it is needed. I saw several events that he was doing in Illinois, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that he's still giving of his time and his energy and his intelligence to trying to fix this state. Let's take a quick break. I've got a question posed on the Facebook page and the YouTube page when we put up this the live stream, which you can watch online if you like. What is a lesson that you have to keep teaching yourself? Like, what lesson do you have to relearn? Maybe it's seasonal. Maybe it's, just why did I not learn from my mistakes the last time? I've got one, and I'm going to tell you about it when I come back here. We'll ask Ryan and Katie to come up with theirs and comment yours in the live chat. We'll include those in the conversation in just a minute. What lesson do you have to keep reteaching yourself? And every time you do it, you have to facepalm because you're like, why did I do this to myself again? I know better. I've got a good one. Stick around. We'll be right back in a minute.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Don't miss the Second Amendment Great Outdoor Show this Saturday afternoon at 3 with Bo Matthews and Tony Colombo on 97.1 FM Talk. Presented in part by Razorback Armory, St. Louis's top shop for everything guns and ammo on Manchester to Pear and at RazorbackArmory.com.
Well, today is my twins' 7th birthday, so we were celebrating over the weekend with the grandparents, and they busted out the Andrea sauce, although they reminded me that I keep talking about how you can use it on steak and you use it on everything in your protein column, but they make mushrooms in Andrea's sauce, and it tastes kind of like steak. A lot of times they'll do the big portobello mushrooms that, look almost like a small steak. But last night they were just using regular mushrooms, and they're fantastic. And it reminded me that you can use Andrea's sauce on pretty much everything. You can get it at Andreas.com or local grocery stores. It's a brush-on steak sauce. That's not how they were using it, though. They were cooking the mushrooms in it. But for the most part, you brush it on while you grill, and this weekend was great for that. It's summer. Grilling season is here. Get a bottle of Andrea sauce. Again, you can get one at Andreas.com if you want to order it, or you can pick one up at the restaurant, which of course is in Fairview Heights, Illinois. That's where the sauce is made. Andreas.com or at Deerberg's or Schnucks for Andrea's steak sauce this summer.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is a cash out refi? It's using the equity in your home to pay off high interest credit cards.
Paid it off. Yes.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. With mortgage rates at a low 2.25%, you can save hundreds each month and skip your next 2 payments. You'll pay nothing out of pocket, and we never charge for a home appraisal if we can't close your loan. And remember, our local lending experts speak mortgage and love translating for our customers. Eliminating debt means putting your dreams back on the table today.
Updated bathroom?
Updated bathroom and a pool table?
Don't push it, Rick.
Get started with our fast and easy zipline tool at goldenoaklending.com.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit. 11737 Administration Drive, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. I have another great offer for you this month. But first, let's talk about why Zero Res is so perfect for your home. They've been lab tested, proven to clean at the highest levels possible. No other cleaning method out-cleans Zero Res. So there really is only one way to get all the gunk out of your home, and that's by calling my friends at Zero Res. They have a platinum-ready cleaning system and patented Zero Res water that's going to extract all the nasty out of your home, so it's going to look and smell like a home should. With the Gotta Love It guarantee, you know you're going to be taken great care of. Check out the 3,000 plus raving customer reviews online with a 4.9 Google rating to see what all the excitement and the hype is all about. And right now, ask for the Mark Reardon special with Zero Res. You can take $50 off the air duct cleaning or 3 rooms starting at just $129, and that's a savings of $20. You can do both. Also, call Zero Res 474-2020. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Don't forget to ask for the Mark Reardon KFTK special 314-474-2020. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Tired of constantly caring for a home exterior that doesn't look as good as it should? You deserve beautiful, low-maintenance James Hardie fiber cement siding. James Hardie gives you gorgeous colors, stands up to Missouri's harsh weather, and lasts decades. At Lakeside Renovation and Design, we're experts in installing America's #1 siding, and our lifetime workmanship warranty gives you peace of mind. Get a lovely, lasting home exterior with Lakeside Renovation and Design. Request a free consultation at 636-978-5000. That's 636-978-5000. And love your home all over again.
When you see your neighbor's home sell in days and interest rates at historic lows, why would you ever pay more than 4? I'm Christina Straight with Straight Realty. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. I hear from people all the time saying they want to sell their home, but they're nervous about being able to find a home in this crazy market. If that's you, then let's talk, and together we can build a plan. I'm Christina Straight with Straight Realty. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
The latest local forecast and severe weather coverage you can count on from the name in St. Louis weather.
This is 97.1's Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
On 97.1 FM Talk. Powered by Air Comfort Service.
Once there was this kid who got into an accident and couldn't come to school, but when he finally came back, his hair had turned from black into bright white.
Can you make a song like this today?
He said that
I mean, you probably can.
Probably.
Somewhere, somebody's making weird stuff like this. It's just not making it to the radio anymore.
Band.
Well, that's what I mean. Can you make a song like this anymore? If it's not making it to the radio, I mean, there's people doing this, people being creative and all that. But I mean, the Crash Test Dummies were so weird. I had their cassette. I had their cassette tape. It was one of the cassette tapes that I owned, and I don't know what was appealing about him. I still enjoy him though. I don't know if it's nostalgic or if I'm like, man, that is a good song.
Every time you play the Crash Test Dummies, I'm like, I just laugh. I just laugh and laugh because it's just so funny. Like the name of the song, the concept, it's just his voice. Yes.
4 M's spelled with 3 M's.
That's right.
It's hard to say. It would have been fun to be a DJ who had to introduce that song. And then, the next verse is talking about birthmarks all over her body. Like, I don't know what I was listening to I'm guessing 93, 94. I don't know. But good grief. It's such a weird song, but it just makes me feel like I'm at home. I posted this question on the live stream when we promote each day that we're going to be going live on our Facebook page and our YouTube page. Lessons that you have to keep learning, like it's the first time. This weekend, once again, mine is sunscreen. And I don't understand what my freaking problem is. If you have been paying attention to the show for a long time, there's a problem. I don't know if it usually takes this long in the year, but there's usually a show where I'm like, I can't move. I've burnt all of my skin. And I've looked through, Katie, I think you sent me some photos last week or whatever when you were looking at them, and one of them is of me having a raging sunburn.
Yep.
And what it is, I go out, it's that summer day, and I think I'm gonna get a little sun on my skin, just a little. And if I spend 2 hours, on Saturday my son had a baseball game, on Sunday my son had a baseball game. I went out on Saturday, I wore shorts out in public for the first time pregnant, because I've been wearing basically all leggings and my husband's pants because my maternity wardrobe has been Jared's clothes, which serves me well in the cooler temperatures, but I don't have as much to wear of his, when it's 85 degrees outside. Like, it was beautiful summer weekend. And so I'm just sitting out there minding my own business. You know what I did? I sprayed my girls down with sunscreen before we went out there like it was my job as their mother. Did I put any on me? No, because I wanted a tan. And I forgot that I have all these freckles on my face and on my arms and on my body. And then I don't tan the first time. I always burn. And so now I have, Brad said on his YouTube page, he thought I was going to look like a lobster or something. Well, I've got some makeup on. My face isn't so bad, but my legs and my arms, oh my gosh, it hurts so bad. Katie, you said your husband had a
Oh my
similar
gosh.
fate this weekend.
He is beet red. I don't think I've ever experienced like a really, really bad sunburn before.
Do you just straight tan?
I don't straight tan. I do get a little burnt, but the experiences that you've had, Annie, and I am witness to the sunburns. Every summer Annie gets
I'm an idiot.
a bad sunburn.
Yes.
So
Why?
I've never had a sunburn like you've had them, or my husband has one right now. I have never experienced something like that. Red head to toe, like scalp all the way down to big toe, beet red. I was putting aloe vera on him last night. He was like,
you guys, did you go on a float trip?
We just went camping for a day, and I was putting aloe vera on him last night, and he was like wincing, like, I'm like, I thought this was supposed to feel good. He said, no, it's horrible. This is a horrible experience.
It is terrible. Ryan, are you a burner or are you a tanner, or what's your experience with the sun?
Probably a little bit better than you guys. I'm in between, but I still get burned, and that's a really good one. Is this sun? Because everybody's experiencing that this weekend. I did the same thing. Had a kid game. We went out to the game, sprayed the kid down. He was fine.
Oh,
didn't spray myself down. Oh, look at that. Oh man.
My gosh.
You are red on your neck.
So bad.
You can see the strap lines.
You are red on your neck.
You are red.
Yes.
You know
you are a redneck. Hey, I got no room though, because I got a pretty big forehead, if you can see. But my forehead got pretty burned. I don't think that's showing up on the camera. Sunburn isn't my number one though. My number one lesson: make the kids go to the bathroom before you get in the car.
Let me add to that, because I had just had that conversation with my kids here recently. I was watching, I think it was a Candace Owens interviewing Matt Schultz interviewing Matt Walsh. They were interviewing each other. They were asking each other, kind of like we do Ask Me Anything on Fridays. And Matt Walsh asked Candace Owens, what's the best piece of advice you have ever been given? And it's Candace Owens. She's, this political figure who's super outspoken, super articulate, and very, very, very smart. So I'm waiting for her to like land some major political, just like, this is really good piece of information. And she said, pee when you can, not when you have to. Yeah. And I'm like, that is so freaking true. That is so smart. And I repeated that advice to my own children this past week. But that's exactly right. Especially when you have kids, pee when you can, not when you have to. The question is not, do you have to go pee? It's go pee
now.
Yes, exactly. And bring something to drink, because if they're not, right when you sit down, if you pull out of the driveway and you're halfway down the road, they're going to say one of two things. One is, oh, I got to go to the bathroom, but it's too late. We're gone. We're going. Or I need something to drink. So I don't know why I don't bring a bottle of water.
Sounds like you're causing your own problems, though.
Yeah.
We are.
I'm like, do not drink anything. If you pee and we've got to travel somewhere, you can have something to drink the next time you're in walking distance from a toilet.
Yep.
That's a rule in my house. Katie, do you have any lessons that you have to keep teaching yourself?
So many. The first one, so many. So many. The first one, it's a normal woman problem. Fill up the tank before it hits E. I am coasting on E. And I'm like, oh, and my car, luckily enough, I have a car now that tells you have 20 miles until you are out of gas. And I, probably like many women, are like, I can make it 20 miles. That's great.
That's a challenge.
So fill up the car.
I might even be able to go 22.
The second one also has to do with gas. Get gas the night before and not the morning of. I did that this morning. I was coming home yesterday and I'm like, you know what? I'll just wait. I'll get gas in the morning. And then every time that happens, I'm like so mad because I have to leave my house 5 minutes earlier than I need to. And I'm have to make the stop and blah, blah, blah. It's just a pain in the butt. The last thing I wrote down was leave your keys in the same pocket every single day in your purse. I'm always fumbling around trying to get my keys every day. And
do you have to put your key in the ignition to start your car?
Yes.
See, that's we've talked about this before. When I lost my key fob that was in my car and I couldn't find it in my car. I didn't know where it was. And being like roly-poly right now, it's hard for me to get down and like look under all the crevices. That is a huge benefit to having a key fob.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have to reach in, it's still good to have it in the same spot every time. That's good advice. But if you can get in and you just like, it's like you're playing the lottery. You put your foot on the brake, you push the button, you see what happens. You don't have to find the key to put in the car to see if the car is going to start. But yeah, keys are a pain.
Oh,
I wish we had. You can do that. I know that they exist, but it doesn't seem to be commonplace. Like a fob to get into your house, like your door.
Yes.
Or a keypad or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a reason that's not more mainstream?
I don't know why that isn't. Or like a Find My Keys app that's like you can put on your key ring, like a little thing, like a fob you can put on your key ring and download the app. That's what I need. And they make
I have one for you.
I think they're
I have
free.
I have one in a box that I've never used.
That's amazing.
It's called a tile.
That's amazing. I know that they exist, and stupidly, I never even think about that until I lose my keys, and I'm like, darn it, I should have put something on there, like a Find My Key app.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
I'm fine with it for the car. I'm afraid of having a smart house. That if you can control everything, your lights and everything on your phone, it's just too much power from my palm that seems like it could be hacked too easily.
I'm not worried about the lights in my house. I wouldn't do a lock that was like that. I would, but like I said, like a fob that you had to, like, you get into work. A lot of people have to use a fob or a key card to get into work, or just a code. Because I can give my parents the code to get in my house and not have to worry about hiding a key. I feel like giving my parents the code to get in my house is safer than trying to like put a key in the bush on the right side of the house and hoping, like, because when people drive by my house and you see these people rooting through the bush to try to find a key, it's not really discreet.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like there's a better way you can do it. Plus, I've seen a lot of, like breaking into a house or whatever. I don't know that the key situation is the safest. I don't know. I don't know like what secures your home the most. But I just feel like maybe there's a step up from where we are right now.
I just went from upgrading in life. I just went from having to use a key, and that's it. RyanScience.com. I just went from upgrading my old house, just having a key to get in and out, to a keypad on my garage door. And growing up, we never had a keypad either. It was always just like you had your key with you, or you had to hide it if you needed someone to come over to the house. Same process you were just talking about, Annie. But David and I are having like the best time. We're like, we'll just give so-and-so the keypad, the little thing for the keypad. And it's great. It's such a different feeling of accomplishment having that level up.
It's the little things.
It is.
It's the little suburban things.
It is.
All right, let's take a quick break. If you have a story that you would like, a lesson that you have to reteach yourself or had to reteach yourself, we'd love to hear from you. 314-241-9797. 314-241-9797. We can take some of your calls when we come back. You can also comment them on the Facebook Live, facebook.com/Annie Fry Show, or the Annie Fry YouTube channel. If you tune in to the live stream right now, I will show you the sunburn on my neck that makes my neck red. Makes me a redneck. I might have been a little bit of that beforehand. All right, quick break. When we come back, your phone calls. Don't go away.
Black and too bright white. He said that it was from when the cars had smashed his soul.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. In addition to heating and cooling, Air Comfort Service also offers indoor air quality water heater and AeroSeal duct seal services. Get in your comfort zone with aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis, I'm Ed Jones, and I'm ready to get back to the track for the 5th annual Bommarito Automotive Group 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. All the cars and stars of IndyCar will be here to battle it out at 200 miles per hour. That's August 20th and 21st when NTT IndyCar returns to St. Louis. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500, details and exclusive ticket offers at bommarito.com, and I'll see you at the track.
I was chatting with the folks at Lakeside Renovation and Design. I think it was Friday, because I need to replace the deck on my house. And they're the people who I trust. Lakeside Renovation and Design offers a lifetime workmanship warranty on top of the manufacturer's warranty. And they've been doing great business for people on the Missouri side and Illinois side for decades. giving people the confidence that when you go to Lakeside, they're going to do the project right. They are going to send the very best that St. Louis has to offer to do it right and to do it well. If you are looking for a renovation in your home, a kitchen, a basement, or a bathroom remodel, you can go to Lakeside Renovation and Design, tell them what you're looking for, or say, I hate my kitchen. It doesn't function for me. They'll ask you questions and they'll help you design your dream kitchen. If you're not an expert at layouts and spatial organization, they can help you take your situation and give you something that is going to work specifically for you. Outside decks, room additions, screen room, front and rear porches. If you're like me and you need to get that deck replaced, expanded, or maybe just added on, call Lakeside Renovation and Design. 636-978-5000, 636-978-5000, lakesidерenovationanddesign.com.
Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. I've been warning our clients that IRS employees are back at work since mid-July, and their collection efforts have ramped up. Well, sure enough, it looks like it's happening. So if you have unfiled tax returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Tax resolution plans are based off your current income. So if your current income is less than normal due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this is precisely the time for the Lance Drury Law Firm to help you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. If you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Home warranty. I know, right? Buying coverage for appliances, your heater and AC, etc., from a company that hopes you never ever have a claim or call. Let me introduce you to a real home warranty company, the kind that actually wants to help you. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. Upkeep visit your home 4 times a year to maintain your appliances and equipment. You will never get a lack of maintenance denial because Upkeep does the maintenance. Also nice, Upkeep assigns you one point person to help you. You won't be passed around like an office hot potato, and you won't get subcontractors. Upkeep does all their work, so there's no blame game. Just experts helping you. Visit upkeepstl.com today and type in 971 for $100 off. Don't be denied. Instead, be relieved. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. 636-387-7331.
Keep up your home with Upkeep. Keep up your home with Upkeep. Keep up your home with Upkeep, and you'll have a happy home.
It's time to spring into action and schedule your garage door maintenance with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The 26-point tune-up is just $89.95. That's one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. The Overhead Door brand is celebrating 100 years, a legacy of greatness. Don't be fooled by others with a similar name. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
We're in Stinchfield. What we saw during the last election cycle, we had the courts clearly not doing their job, and this was widespread. None of this is surprising with the length that they will go in order to win elections, including cheating.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
Sun shines, clouds rain, train whistles blow and guitars play. Preachers preach, farmers plow, wishes go up and the world goes round. And I love you.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Glad you're with us. Tiffany tweeted at me at Annie Fry Show, my lesson, don't do shots and stick with one type of alcohol.
Oh.
Okay,
Amen. I feel that in my bones.
Do you have to relearn that lesson from time to time?
From time to time. I'm getting better, people, but man, sometimes someone comes out and they've got the right attitude and the right energy, and they're like, hey, you want to take this fireball shot? And you're like, I didn't want to, but then you really are a great salesman.
And you're such a generous person to offer.
Yes,
to me.
and thank you. Thank you.
I was talking with some friends just yesterday, and we were talking about our exploits earlier in life and maybe having one drink too many. And he said this, and I so related to it. It's like when people are offering you drinks, because this person is like almost to a fault too nice and polite. Like you don't want to ever offend anybody. Just an incredibly kind person. And they were out on their bachelor party, and it was just like, he's like, when they give it to you, it's like you don't want to be like, no, I can't take that. You paid for it, so I have to. And it just ended poorly, especially if you're somebody like me and like him, who I don't drink regularly. I wouldn't call myself a drinker. I like a good drink socially. But mixing the alcohol is one way to get yourself in quite some trouble.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
Do they do different things to you, like each type of alcohol?
What do you mean?
Like, if you drink tequila and then you drink, whiskey, are they doing different?
It's more
things?
of a that's liquor, like a beer before liquor, never been sicker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Beer,
heard that?
I've heard that.
What is the other one? Something you're in the clear.
Liquor before beer, you're in the
You're
clear.
in the clear.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny how they have to make it rhyme in order for people to remember.
But you do.
You're sitting there and you're drinking, and someone hands you another. You're like, hold on a second, I got to think for a minute. What's that thing? Beer before liquor, never been sicker. Sorry, I can't do that. It's just making a good Dr. Seuss decision there.
Yep.
Joe is on the phone. Let's get to Joe's call here. 314-241-9797. If you would like to join the show, we'd appreciate you giving us a call. Joe, thanks for calling in.
Sure. I do like your show.
Thank you, Joe.
Hey, I was just calling about, you're talking about hiding a key versus a keypad, getting in, neither one. If a burglar wants to get into your house, they're going to do it with a crowbar. One of your best defenses is a nosy neighbor and or cameras. If you want to, other than that, you're only keeping honest people honest.
That's true. I love that, Joe. Thanks for the phone call. Keeping honest people honest sounds like it's like a gun control slogan, because that's kind of the way that works too. You can make a bunch of laws about how to regulate gun violence in this country, in our city, and St. Louis is making national headlines once again for having a banner weekend for gun violence. Can we start calling it criminal violence, because that's how this is happening? But when you make rules and you put up parameters or even barriers to stop people from doing things, are you really stopping people from doing things? Are you stopping the bad people from, as he said, using a crowbar to get in your house? But if a keypad on your garage door makes you feel like you've achieved next level, get yourself a keypad on your garage door.
Yeah, level up.
What's your keypad code, Katie?
Oh, it's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Same as my phone number. No.
And your address, please.
That's the code of my luggage. We've been looking at a lot of the violence, gun violence. People, we were talking with Tony Colombo. I guess it was Thursday, maybe, when he came in, or sometime last week, about how the gun issue is not front and center right now. It will be. It will be sometime soon, because something else will happen. But if you look across the country, the gun violence taking place, specifically in Chicago this weekend, Mayor Lori Lightfoot has come out and she's got a vote of no confidence from the Fraternal Order of Police. It's the police union there in Chicago. And good grief, this woman is like, I wear that as a badge of honor. That's all you need to know about the direction that Chicago is heading. Plus, you look at it comparatively to cities like New York and St. Louis, and you see over and over and over again, the violence is just raging. And these are all places where people are looking to defund the police. And the question, why is nobody talking about this violence that is taking place all across the country? Why are we avoiding having these discussions and looking into what we could possibly be doing to save children who are sitting on their front porches and getting shot in the head? That was a story, I think, in St. Louis that just took place. There's a tragedy happening across our country right now. And we have mayors of major cities, the third largest city in this country, wearing it as a badge of honor that if the police union doesn't like me and they have no confidence in me, I'll wear that as a badge of honor. I mean, we're in a deep spiral here, right? Because while people are shooting people all across the country, this is happening right now. It happened in St. Louis this weekend. It's happening all over in these major cities. It's happening. You cannot deny that it's happening. You can ignore that it's happening, but that doesn't mean that it is not happening.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, one more police shooting where there is a racial differential there. It doesn't even actually honestly have to be different anymore. One more police shooting of a minority person, specifically a black individual, And it will take front and center headline news for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Why is that? Are we saying that Black Lives Matter? Are we saying that some Black Lives Matter? Are we saying that politically expedient situations that affect my ability to gain power matters? Because that's what it really feels like. Go ahead, Katie.
Besides all of the gun violence that happens every single weekend and every single day in St. Louis City, did you guys see that giant party that was broken up? And then all of a sudden, people were dancing on top of cop cars and breaking into cop cars in St. Louis. I mean, that's where we're headed. There were cop cars lined up because this party was being broken up by the police. And all of a sudden, the people from the party started jumping on the cop cars and breaking in and videotaping people dancing on top of them. It's chaos. It's absolute chaos. And it's been chaos in the city, and it will continue to be chaos in the city if we have this mantra from leadership saying defund the police or that the police can't do their job. I mean, it's craziness.
When you look too at like what the point of the political conversation that comes out when we're talking about Black Lives Matter, like I've said this from specifically when this really got thrust back into the mainstream conversation when the George Floyd situation happened a year ago. Black lives absolutely matter. Period. I don't have to qualify that with anything. To say that Black lives matter, that is a true statement. There's always a difference between the sentence Black Lives Matter and capital Black, capital Lives, capital Matter as a political movement in this country, working to raise money from different people and look and see where that money goes. Look and see what happens next. And when you consider what that movement is trying to do, which is very different than the truth that is foundational to the sentence that Black Lives Matter, you get to the point where you realize, similar to this story with the NFL, I'm going to play the clip here from Tammy Bruce, where she's talking about the effort that is being made in the NFL to try to include minorities. Well, what kind of minorities? Is it just specifically one kind of a minority? Because that's not how they're pitching.
There's this fascinating story from the NFL. Eugene Chung, he played in the NFL for a long time. He's now a coach. And he told the Boston Globe this, that he was interviewing for a job. Now, he is an Asian American, Eugene Chung, and he was told, he says, by a team that he was the wrong minority. Here's the quote. It was said to me, well, you're really not a minority. So I was like, well, what do you mean I'm not a minority? And the interviewer responded, you are not the right minority we're looking for. That's when I realized what the narrative was. It was blown away. I was blown away, emotionally paralyzed for a split second. I asked myself, did I hear that correctly, Tammy?
Yes, and that really proves the entire point here, that this is not about elevating minorities in this country. And there are many people who are on the fringes. As a matter of fact, he's Korean American, which is about 0.6% of the population, even more of a minority than other minorities.
When you think about somebody of Asian descent being turned away, even though they're looking in the NFL to expand opportunities for minority individuals, apparently there's a right kind of minority and a wrong kind of minority. Who gets to arbitrarily make these decisions? And honestly, think about that for a second. If the NFL is doing this, why are they doing it? What is the purpose behind why they are doing it? Are they doing it because they feel as though minorities in the United States of America do not have equal opportunity, that they don't have equal access to the opportunities that white people do? Because if that's the case, then any minority that applies for a certain job should be considered under the umbrella of diversifying the staff, the employee group that you have working in any entity. Why is it that it has to be Black? Because that's really what the NFL is saying here, that they need more Black individuals to be in these positions. So if you are somebody who is Asian, who, especially in the time and place that we are right now, where there is a Stop Asian Hate hashtag that you can go put in Twitter and see a lot of stories of people who are of Asian descent getting beat up in the streets. Same thing for Jewish people right now. They're people who don't look not white enough. That's crazy. That is an absolute insanity to say that I'm raising my kids right now in a world where people can be, where if you were white, you were bad. Now it's, you got to be not white to an extent where the NFL, one of probably the biggest money-making machines entities that exist in the United States of America can look at somebody like that of Asian descent and say you're not the right minority. I mean, these arbitrary decisions that are being made, for me, when I look at it, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, this is all about saving face. It's about the NFL being able to put a picture up and say new hire, and it's this person, and the NFL getting credit for something that is completely based on skin color. How am I supposed to talk to my kids about that? How am I supposed to explain to my children how this system works now and what they're supposed to work for? And how am I supposed to explain it to my kids in the context where the first and foremost thing that matters is the color of your skin? Boy, is that backwards. Boy, is that as backwards as anything that we're engaging in right now as a society. And it is corrosive. It will seep into every corner of our culture. It will seep into every corner of our education system, and it will ruin generations to come if we don't stand up against it. I had a conversation online with somebody. I commented on something about abortion, and I'm going to talk about it when we come back. I don't know if you've seen this on our Facebook page. You can look at the exchange there. I've blocked out the person's name because I don't want to troll some person who's randomly commenting on a news story. But the idea behind, should we be able to abort babies because we find out they have Down syndrome? That's a real question. And Missouri was stepping up, other states stepping up to push back against the idea that that should be an eliminating offense. We'll talk about that when we come back. Don't go away.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
You voted for this, and now we're seeing the fruits of that labor. Free everything.
The Mark Cox Morning Show. Weekdays from 5 to 9 on 97.1 FM Talk. Odyssey.com is a universe of audio, and it's where you can download the app to stream 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it today and stream anytime from anywhere. 97.1 FM Talk.
Hi, I'm Mike. And I'm Bill, and we've been friends since second grade. And for nearly 20 years, our company, Universal Windows Direct, has been aiming to provide homeowners quality home improvement products.
And many of them have trusted us with their projects and helped us earn the superior satisfaction rating. Right now, for every window you buy, you get the next one free, plus no payments and no interest for 2 years.
Don't wait. Call us now, 314-696-5909, or click universalwindowsdirect.com, and you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for ThrottleNet, and if you need new IT service and you're a small business owner, or you just need better IT service, why wouldn't you check out ThrottleNet? They won Best in Customer Service from Small Business Monthly this past January, Best in Cybersecurity in Small Business Monthly in February. Ransomware has been huge, unfortunately, on the rise through the pandemic, and ThrottleNet has saved clients $2.6 million in ransom. So they protect against ransomware by providing a tool set that provides cybersecurity training for employees, identifying and quarantining an infected machine from the network, and the equipment will recover in less than 24 hours. Take advantage of a great offer. The first 30 days with ThrottleNet are free. There's no onboarding fees if you leave in the first 30 days. ThrottleNet will pay you $1,000 for your trouble. And after the first 30 days, no contracts, they're month to month. Check out ThrottleNet online. Use the 97.1 connection. ThrottleNet.com/971. ThrottleNet.com/971. Get started today.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness 101 for many years. Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 3 times a week. Yes, 3 times every weekend. Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common-sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness 101, now 3 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
More than ever, this is where St. Louis is coming to talk.
Kids aren't getting this. I'm actually okay with it right now. Everything's fine. I'm going to live my life.
Computer, smart speaker, radio, phone. People are gathering here.
If your company promotes a policy like this, are you going to comply? Maybe it's your belief that it's none of their business.
Thanks for listening and staying connected. 97.1 FM Talk. KFTK FM Florissant. Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group. 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
Ready for hurricane season?
I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden makes $1 billion pledge, doubling a program aimed at helping states, territories, and tribes prepare for hurricanes.
So it's not about red states and blue states. You all know that. It's about having people's backs in the toughest moments that they face, ready with food, water, blankets, shelters, and more.
Also noting the upcoming start of the Western fire season during a visit to FEMA headquarters. Tomorrow, the president will have a private White House meeting with members of George Floyd's family, marking 1 year since Floyd was killed in Minneapolis.
A day that certainly impacted him personally and impacted millions of Americans, but he wanted this meeting to be private.
In order, White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki says, to have a, quote, real conversation. Officer Derek Chauvin has been convicted of murder in Floyd's death. The trial for 3 other officers has been delayed until after they all face a federal trial on civil rights charges. Just 2 months before the pandemic-delayed Tokyo Olympics, the State Department is out with a new advisory urging against traveling to Japan because of a new wave of COVID infections there and concern about variants, even for those who are fully vaccinated. Olympic officials say the Summer Games postponed from last year will happen in July, even if a state of emergency is still in effect in Japan. Renewed calls to probe how the pandemic started as more information surfaces.
A State Department official says the United States learned from contacts in other governments that scientists in the Wuhan lab who were researching coronaviruses had fallen ill in the autumn of 2019.
Fox's Rich Edson at the State Department. Meantime, the UN has opened an international conference on ending this pandemic and trying to prevent the next. America is listening to Fox News.
I hired nuptial num-nums to cater my wedding, and it was a disaster. Everyone was raving about the food instead of my dress.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
They're like, oh, Veronica, the lamb chops. Did the lamb chops fly you out to Cancun?
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
I will not be hiring them for my next wedding.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
You want the truth on why I wake up looking so darn awesome? I take care of my skin. Not just my face, but more intimate skin. And when you've got incontinence, you sure need to.
Tena Intimates pads lock liquid in and are now 100% breathable to care for your intimate skin, day or night. Tena Intimates are now endorsed by the Skin Health Alliance. Visit tenasample.com for your free sample. Kind to skin, protects like Tena.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly sunny skies on this Monday afternoon. Not a lot of change in temperature. That early summer feel, 89, 90 for the high, moderate humidity. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, evening temperatures take that drop out of the 80s, 68 for the low on Tuesday. Partly sunny and windy, though clouds will tend to be on the increase Tuesday afternoon. A couple of spotty showers, but I think they're going to be hard to find on Tuesday afternoon, 84. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Presented by Indeed. By speeding up the hiring process, Indeed puts the dash in dashboard. Use Instant Match to connect immediately with qualified candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Then use your dashboard to conduct interviews. Find out more at Indeed.com/credit.
Hi, this is Tracy, president of Acropolis Technology Group. I want to start by recognizing our team's exceptional hard work during this pandemic, and apparently our clients recognize it as well. We were just honored by not winning one Best in Business award, but 4 Best in Business awards. We won Best IT Firm, Best in Cybersecurity, Best in Customer Service, and Best in Value. These 4 awards are a culmination of our team's hard work every single day, all done during the most challenging year we've had in our 24-year history. What these 4 awards tell me is that we are recognized for being experts at our craft. We do it in a friendly way, and our clients see value from partnering with us. I can't think of 4 better awards that summarize what it is we do for our clients each and every week. Acropolis has been helping some of the region's best companies protect, optimize, and grow their businesses now for many years. We have done it for them, and we can help you too. To find out more, give us a call or visit us at acropolistech.com. That's Acropolis, TECH.com. Acropolis, it's a better way to manage IT.
Edwards Carpet is so grateful to our military personnel that sacrificed their lives for our country. Please honor them this Memorial Day. We owe our way of life to these heroes. God bless America.
Come on down to Edwards Carpet Stores.
The new Hyundai Santa Fe is available with a class-exclusive feature called Ultrasonic Rear Occupant Alert. It can help prevent a little one from being accidentally left in the rear seat. It's innovative technology that helps make every family outing safer.
Get 0.9% APR for 60 months or get $1,000 in savings on the 2021 Santa Fe. See your local St. Louis Hyundai dealer today. Offers end June 1st, 2021. Call 224-661-0068 for details.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is a no-charge appraisal? It's never asking for a credit card or charging for a home appraisal if we can't close your loan.
No risk on refinancing, but I live for danger.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. Refinancing with Golden Oak is anything but risky business. And with our mortgage rates at a low 2.25%, you can save hundreds each month and skip your next 2 payments. And remember, our local lending experts speak mortgage and love translating for our customers. Removing risk from your next purchase or refi means you can find your thrills elsewhere.
Skydiving? No. Cliff jumping. Wait, hang gliding.
Aren't you afraid of heights?
Stop. You're embarrassing me.
Get started today with our simple zipline tool at goldenoaklending.com.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit, 11737 Administration Drive, St. Louis, Missouri.
Getting ready for the big day? Come to Shane Company for picture-perfect jewelry. Classic styles for the bride and groom, and gifts for the bridal party. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Odyssey has all the podcasts you crave, including Exit Scam, a new true crime podcast. When Gerald Cotton, the founder of Canada's biggest Bitcoin exchange, died under mysterious circumstances in India, $215 million in his customers' accounts was frozen forever. All because he'd forgotten to leave behind his passwords. Or at least that's what those customers were told. Listen to Exit Scam episodes a week ahead, exclusively on the Odyssey app. Get all your podcasts, music, news, and sports on Odyssey.
You can ask your smart speaker to play 97.1 FM Talk and stay connected to everything happening in the world, the country, and the community. It's all through the new Odyssey app, where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being here. A reminder, you can subscribe to the Annie Fry Show podcast. Anywhere you get podcasts from, just type in Annie Fry Show podcast in Google. You'll find a bunch of places to do it. If you're not a podcaster, you can download that Odyssey app and the podcasts are there. So if this is your first podcast that you like to subscribe to because you missed Dr. Scott Hardeman in the first hour and you want to catch up on that conversation, that will be there. So will our conversation with Stephen Moore and the rest of the show. We always appreciate you coming on here and subscribing to us. So thank you for doing that if you already have and considering it if you haven't. I was talking before we went to the break about this conversation I got into personally on Facebook regarding this story that I saw on Fox 2 Now. So I'm on Fox 2 Now's website right now. I'm going to read a little bit from this article that they have up here. Down syndrome abortion bans gain traction after court ruling. So I don't know how much, Ryan and Katie, you know about this story. So I'm going to read a little bit to you so we can discuss it here. It's a ban that even supporters acknowledge will be hard to enforce, yet 2021 has been a breakthrough year for legislation in several states seeking to prohibit abortions based solely on a prenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome. Governors in Arizona and South Dakota recently signed such bills into law. Similar measures are pending in North Carolina and Texas. Most significantly, a federal appellate court said Ohio could begin to implement a 2017 law that has been on hold. Although that ruling by the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals conflicted with other federal court decisions, anti-abortion activists say it increases the chances that the U.S. Supreme Court will agree to consider a case addressing the challenging issues the legislation poses. That could clear a path for bans to be enacted in some other states where courts are blocking them. Just this week, the High Court, with a 6-3 conservative majority, debatable, resulting from 3 appointments by former President Donald Trump, signaled its willingness to reconsider the 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling, establishing a nationwide right to abortion. The justices agreed to consider a Mississippi law that seeks to ban abortions after 15 weeks. Roe essentially legalized any abortion taking place before a fetus could survive outside the mother's womb, generally around 23 weeks. There's more on Fox 2 Now that you can check out right there on that story, and it's linked from our Facebook page in this conversation that I had, because one of the comments that came up as I was reading, I've said this before, I adore learning why people think the way they think, and understanding how people come to the conclusions that they come to, whether they agree with me, my positions, or whether they're in direct opposition. I like to know how people get to those places. Well, one of the comments under this story was this. This is the comment. I'm reading it straight from Facebook. So does anyone remember back in the 40s and 50s when there were entire orphanages designated to abandoned children with special needs for them to live out their entire existence? Are we seriously wanting to go back to that? Remember all the negligence and abuse that happened at these mental care facilities? History is doomed to repeat itself indeed. That's the response to a story questioning whether getting a diagnosis in utero of Down syndrome in this baby. And I've talked about my personal experience of having that chromosomal test at 10 weeks into my pregnancy. With this baby right now, they do a panel on the DNA, the genetic makeup, and they can look at it from my blood. They can derive chromosomal issues that might arise with the baby that is growing inside of me. Of those included is Down syndrome. That's the most commonly identified one, I assume, but there are a lot of other chromosomal issues that can take place. Also, your chromosomes do determine your biological sex, and that is what most women, if everything comes out normal and there's no anomalies, you get to find out if you're having a boy or a girl, which is why, since I'm in a geriatric pregnancy, they do this earlier on, because when you're in a geriatric pregnancy, you have a higher chance for some types of chromosomal issues. So 10 weeks into this pregnancy, you can determine, specifically in this instance, this news report, Down syndrome. Now, the question is, if you discover that you have a baby that has Down syndrome at 10 weeks, do you just go have an abortion at 12 weeks? That's the question. These states want to say, no, that baby's life is just as valuable with Down syndrome as it is without Down syndrome, and that diagnosis should not permit somebody to be able to go access an abortion for that reason. In China, people get abortions because they're having a gender that they don't prefer, mostly girls. This to me is incredibly scary and tragic, to think that we could find out an anomaly that it would exist like Down syndrome. And if you've ever been blessed, and yes, I'm saying absolutely blessed to know somebody who has Down syndrome, you will never know a kinder, more gentler soul than somebody who has Down syndrome. My response to this on Facebook was, imagine thinking the only preferred alternate reality to what tragically took place in the 40s was to kill them all. God help us. The response to that would be, this person responded to me, Annie, a better alternative would be for you to take them all in and care for them every day until they die. But I'm guessing you're not going to sign up for that, right? I mean, someone has to do it, and it's sadly not going to be the parents that abandoned them. These are the arguments that are being put into motion by a lot of people to suggest that we can validate the idea that these particular lives are not worthy. I don't understand that. I would like to try to understand that, but every time I look at these arguments, the initial argument towards, if you have a baby that's got Down syndrome, it might just be better for the baby if that baby's life is ended in the womb, because it's going to have a hard life. And the parents, when they got pregnant, whether they planned to or not, those parents weren't signing up for a life of the hardships, the expense, the struggle that comes along with raising, in this particular instance, a child with Down syndrome. I know people who have kids with Down syndrome. Their lives have been forever changed by those children, and in impossibly, unpredictably better ways than they ever could have imagined if the scenario would have been different. Who are we to determine the value of that life in the womb of a mother and suggest that it would be better off not existing? Who are we to determine that? I mean, seriously, when I read that comment, my heart just breaks in two for people who feel so hopeless and so helpless that to look back on what maybe had been done to people who have struggled with disabilities, with issues that genetically speaking put them at a disadvantage to, air quotes, normal society, to say, it would really be better if they just never would have existed at all. And to give somebody that kind of power, I don't understand that logic. I don't understand that worth. I screenshot those comments from the Fox 2 page and put them on the Annie Fry Show page. And like I said, I blurred out the name of this person because I'm not interested in attacking that person. I'm not interested in specifically changing her mind. But that type of logic, that logic exists well beyond this individual commenter on this issue. And I'm telling you this, I know that commenter is saying that because she believes that she is having compassion by suggesting that going back to what we used to do with people who had these disabilities is a bridge too far. We shouldn't do that again. You know what? I agree with that. You and I agree on that. The solution, on the other hand, I couldn't disagree with you more. Have you ever had somebody push back on your pro-life attitude and suggest that you have to adopt every unwanted child? And if you can't manage to adopt every unwanted child, then we should get rid of them. There is a very parallel analogy that exists here. And it exists on our southern border, where we have children, we have unwanted or unpaired minors that are coming across our southern border. For what reasons we could list all sorts of possibilities. All of these kids coming here into our country, for the people who want to permit that to happen, you need to take them all in. You need to feed them all. Don't make me do it. Don't make me take my tax dollars out of my pocket that I'm trying to use and work my tail off to feed the family that I'm raising. You want to bring these people into life here in the United States? You want them to be birthed across the southern border into the United States, then you take care of them. You take them all in. You house them. You shelter them. You educate them. You provide for them. You make sure that they get to live the American life that you believe, that I believe, that we all believe that we deserve. You do that. But if you can't do that, then they should all be told no at the border. They should all be told to go away, and they should cease to exist. That's irrational. I know that's irrational, and I want the border to be closed. I know that there are people who are coming across the southern border because they believe in the idea of America more than any liberal progressive believes in the idea of America. They want something that we have over here. They want a chance at life. They want a chance at something that they can't get in their drug-ridden third world country somewhere where the governments are corrupt and they're not even sure they're going to make it to be 20 or 30 because they're going to get killed in the streets because of crime. Why is it that we can be so callous in our conversations between people who believe in life and who believe in choice and people who believe in abortion? Why is it that when it comes to the unborn lives, we can just dismiss the fact that there is life that actually exists there in the first place? My response to this person, or when I put this on the Facebook page, I was challenged because I was told that I have before said, it's my body, my choice when it comes to mask wearing. I don't need the government coming in and telling me that I need to be wearing a mask. I should have a say in that matter, right? As if somehow or another, my actions as an autonomous individual in how I choose to protect myself and, yes, the life of my unborn baby that I am carrying right now, to wear a mask, to socially distance, to not wear a mask, to not socially distance, that somehow or another, my body, my choice in that instance is equitable to the life that exists in the womb of an expecting or potentially unexpecting mother. What are we doing here? How do we not see how obvious this conversation is? And how are we willing to just dismiss the idea that whenever life begins, and this person who challenged me on our Facebook page, was suggesting that if I'm going to value the life of that unborn child, I need to value all life. And then she was giving me a list of all of the things that I need to value, which included eating steak from a cow. I can't make that stretch. I can't do it. That cow, not intrinsically human valuable life. That's different to me. It just is. No, I don't value that cow as much as I value the unborn child of a woman who I will never, ever, ever meet. I could name that cow and spend time with that cow and still eat a cheeseburger and be okay with it. I mean, probably. I could get a little weird about that, probably. But when it comes to the unborn life that is growing, when does life start? Before you have a conversation about abortion with anyone, make sure you agree on when life exists. You might not agree on it, but you need to know that you don't agree on it, because if you're saying life begins at conception and they're saying life doesn't begin until the child enters the earthly world and passes through the magical tunnel. There's nothing magical about it, folks. Once it is out there in the open and you can hold it, then it becomes a valuable life. If you don't agree on when life starts, then you're not agreeing on what you're doing to that unborn child. If you think you're killing a child and they think that it's a clump of cells, you can't really have the next step of the conversation until you understand one another. I'd encourage you to go look at this conversation back and forth. Be respectful if you weigh in, of course. But when we start talking about these really big issues, I could talk to you about Chris Cuomo today. Yeah, I could talk to you about some stupid thing Joe Biden said or did today. Yeah, I could talk to you about some stupid thing that Donald Trump said or did today. We could talk about those things, but these are real issues that are facing Americans right now that we're not talking about. And we should. We talk about it when we come back. If you want to call us, 314-241-9797. Ryan and Katie, I want to get your thoughts on this conversation and this story about Down syndrome kids in some states working to ban abortions based on Down syndrome, a Down syndrome diagnosis. It's an interesting story and could have very interesting implications if it gets to the Supreme Court. We'll talk about it when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
George Weber. If you want music on the radio like it used to be, where the DJs played what they wanted and then talked about it, tune in to my alter ego, Skip Weber, every Saturday night at 9 p.m. on the Saturday Evening Rock Show, the greatest music show on a talk station in the world.
Drafty old windows make your home uncomfortable and really drive up energy bills. The solution? Modern, gorgeous Infinity by Marvin fiberglass windows installed by Lakeside, the exclusive Infinity Windows dealer in St. Louis. Custom fit, energy efficient Infinity by Marvin windows are 8 times stronger than vinyl. They block the cold and keep your home cozy and bright. Request a free windows consultation from Lakeside Renovation and Design at 636-978-5000. That's 636-978-5000. You'll love your home all over again.
Speaking of loving your home, oh my gosh, do I love my new closets from Closet Factory. I'm so incredibly excited to show you what Closet Factory did. They came over Thursday and Friday of last week. And in that amount of time, these people work so fast. In the amount of time that they were there, Thursday and Friday, not even for a whole day, they redid my 8-year-old daughter's closet with a bunch of storage and customized sections for her to put different things in. They redid my 5-year-old daughter's closet so that it's now going to be split so that the 5-year-old can share some closet space with the newborn that's coming into the home. They redid our master closet, which I haven't put everything back in yet, but I am going to showcase this amazing project. And they also did, we have like a laundry closet on the second floor, and they've actually made that more functional than it has ever been. I can only imagine the value that it's added to my home, the sellability that it has added to my home. It's all from the Closet Factory, the experts who come into your home and give you a solution to your needs. Your solutions are going to be different than mine because your issues are going to be different than mine. Go to closetfactory.com right now. Schedule a free consultation, 314-961-4300. If you act right now, you can receive $500 off your minimum purchase of $2,500. 314-961-4300. Go see my friends at the Closet Factory. You will not be disappointed. Closetfactory.com.
Heading out for a day of fishing on the lake? Do your family a favor and make sure you have your life jacket on. Men are 6 times more likely to drown than women. Life jackets worn, nobody mourns. This water safety message is brought to you by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, St. Louis District.
You've heard it's a seller's market, and yes, that makes it a great time to sell your home. Hey, it's Mark Cox here, and like every home seller, I want you to sell for the most money with the least stress. That's easy. Just call Gloria Liu with GL International Realty, part of Coldwell Banker Premier Group. Gloria is St. Louis real estate authority with an outstanding team that sells twice as fast for about 3% more money than other realtors. That's about $12,000 more on a $400,000 home. Gloria's unique marketing system showcases your home to her exclusive pool of over 9,000 ready buyers, resulting in increased demand and strong offers. Gloria Liu's sellers love working with her. They gladly refer to friends because they know Gloria guarantees to sell your home at your agreed to price, or she'll buy it herself. Call Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. I've been warning our clients that IRS employees are back at work since mid-July, and their collection efforts have ramped up. Well, sure enough, it looks like it's happening. So if you have unfiled tax returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Tax resolution plans are based off your current income. So if your current income is less than normal due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this is precisely the time for the Lance Drury Law Firm to help you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Critical thinking for critical times. You're listening to the #1 talk station in St. Louis. A voice for the free exchange of ideas. This is 97.1 FM Talk.
Good love. Good love. Good love, good love, good love, good love. Oh, always on, always on. Oh, always on the way. I heard him say, yeah, yeah.
Welcome back to the Annie Fried Show. Thanks for being with us here today. Let's talk a little bit about a story first reported on Fox2Now.com, which is where I saw it first reported as far as I've seen it. The headline is Down Syndrome Abortion Bans Gain Traction After Court Ruling. The idea that you could get a diagnosis of a Down syndrome child while you were expecting, and then that would be grounds for you to choose to have an abortion, to elect to have an abortion. That's what they're trying to stop doing here. So, saying that, you know, the lives of the children who have Down syndrome are valuable. I completely agree with that. And in posting that story on the local news channel here, there was a comment suggesting that previously in our history, we would institutionalize these people and they'd live terrible lives in these institutions. And if we're going to go back to that because we're going to force people to have these babies, that's tragic. We shouldn't go back to that. This is not an A or B situation. This is not a black or white situation where we need to be like, well, if we're going to continue to have Down syndrome babies, they either need to be institutionalized and isolated, or we should kill them in utero. Those are not the only two options that exist here. Katie, Ryan, want to weigh in on this issue before we get to some calls? If you want to join us and weigh in, 314-241-9797. I'm getting a lot of messages from people, so keep sending them to our social media, putting them on the live chat, and give us a call and we'll get you on. Katie, first, what do you think?
Sure. I feel like a lot of the discussions that I have, because I am a pro-life advocate in my community with friends, is that people always ask me, like, why are you pro-life? And I think it all comes down to just like valuing life. I value life. I like people to be able to live and make choices for themselves and to grow up and have to be blessed enough to live. I feel like that's just a principle. That is a principle, that is a staple of who I am, is that just perpetuate life. It is such a glorious thing to do. I had a friend on Twitter tweet something that's kind of similar to what we're talking about. Governor Abbott, I guess 5 days ago, signed the heartbeat bill and saying the heartbeat bill is now law in the Lone Star State. This bill ensures the life of every unborn child with a heartbeat, it will be saved from an abortion. He thanks a lot of people involved with the bill and is just like, thank God, we're so grateful. And some people responded to that saying, Texas is the absolute worst. We hate you, Governor Abbott. We cannot believe you're doing this, and you're not going to help women. You're not going to help women anywhere. And we're going to go back to the olden times with old times abortions and stuff like that. I just can't believe that we're living in a time that we're debating who gets to live and who doesn't. And we get to that's our duty. That somehow now it's linked to women's health, that we get to decide who gets to live and breathe and be and exist. It is baffling to me.
And that there are people who don't intrinsically have value.
Yes.
That there is a level at which your value as a life, as a human life, is dependent on somebody else's perspective.
And for anyone that would be, for the abortion of people with Down syndrome, go talk to someone with Down syndrome. Go talk to someone talk to a parent with a child with Down syndrome or anything else, with Asperger's or anything else. Go talk to these parents and these family and these kids that are living their life and loving every minute of it. And then come back and talk to me about the value of life.
Steve messaged our Facebook page and said, hi, Annie, I'm the proud father of 8 children. Oh boy, you and your wife. Congratulations. 4 boys and 4 girls, and had the misdiagnosis of one trisomy 23, aka Down syndrome, and one hypersyphilic baby. Both babies were born perfectly healthy, but we were offered an abortion choice on each instance. I wonder how many babies die of misdiagnosis. That's a scary, scary thought too in the context of this conversation. Ryan, what's your thought on the issue?
I mean, the argument that we don't want to be filling up the orphanage again, so we should thank God for abortion. Like, that's crazy. That's so inhumane to say that you can't. That their life is so valueless if you live in an orphanage or if you have special needs of some kind, that you shouldn't be allowed to live. But also, just from a practical standpoint, because that will be an issue. Like if abortion goes away, we don't want to have that issue come up again of kids going back into foster care. And we've already got a foster care problem in the United States. We also now, compared to then, the 40s and 50s and 60s, we have foster care organizations like you wouldn't believe. I mean, if you're plugged into a church in this country, any church or religious organization at all, you've probably been talked to by a foster company or a foster care organization, not to mention the government backs you up in ways that they didn't back then if you foster a child. So the infrastructure that we have now, and there have been people for decades preparing for Roe versus Wade to be overturned so that they could go into action to take care of all the kids that would be born that weren't before. Like, comparing those two things is so ridiculously different that you almost can't compare them. So it's just that argument holds no water. It makes no sense.
Let's get to caller Steve, 314-241-9797. If you'd like to call the show, we'd love to include your thoughts on this. Steve, thanks for giving us a ring.
Hi, Annie. How are you?
Doing okay. How are you doing today?
Well, I want to say something to the start. The world has already tried this thing of the master race scenario, and we all know how that turned out. What they're talking about here is exactly the same thing, only it's being done here in America. Like you're reading, somebody else, I think said the Facebook thing or whatever, that the doctor said that they went and had this test, and I have two kids, had this test done with both of them. You know, they're a whole lot of years, they're 18 years apart from one another. Both of them came out saying that there was all kinds of problems and we should abort the child. St. John's, I'll put their name out there because that was the one that did the last one. They did everything they could except for put the needle in to cause and create and talk into have an abortion. If women, and I'll even put out their fathers as well, if you have this test and it comes up saying this, doubt with every fiber of your being what that doctor is trying to tell you. Doctor is not named God. God placed that child there. There's no question about that. I have a friend who has MS, and I tell her I am perfect. I said, I am perfect because I am exactly the way God has intended me to be. And I looked at her and says, you are perfect just the same as I am. You just have something a little bit different going on, but you are still perfect. Everybody in this world, as screwed up as we all are, believe it or not, we all are perfect because we are what God intended us to be.
Steve, thank you for the phone call. I appreciate it. I mean, those stories seem to be somewhat prevalent to, misdiagnoses. And I would add to that, though, if the diagnosis was correct, does it change the outcome? If the diagnosis of, in this particular case, being a Down syndrome child, if that's a correct diagnosis, I don't understand how in the 21st century we can look at that and say, well, that's not one worth keeping. And it's just, it's awful. It makes me nauseous to think about this. Another thing when it comes to this discussion about abortion in general, and this kind of came up in some of the comments too, and somebody said something like they could speak for me on this issue, and I have to push back on it a little bit, suggesting that abortion is a religious issue. Abortion is not a religious issue. Abortion is a moral issue. And you might derive your morals from your faith, from your religion, whatever it is. I derive my personal morals from my religion or my faith. But you don't have to have religion specifically to know the difference between right and wrong. Like when you look at any specific scenario, there's no religious faith that has a monopoly on morality. The idea of morality exists and can be defined by your faith. My Christianity defines my moral understanding, my moral compass. So for me, it might be a particularly religious issue. I believe in thou shalt not kill, and I believe that abortion, the ending of a life, goes against that commandment. But that's what it is for me. Suggesting somehow or another that abortion is a religious problem, I think really discounts the scientific fact of what exists. We've had this conversation before. We talk on this show from time to time about the existence of aliens, usually when Gabe Pfeiffer is in studio, because we think he actually knows the answer to that question. He's just holding out on us. When you look at the exploration, the billions and trillions of dollars that are spent on exploring the universe and what is out there, with the hope that it would be the discovery of the millennium, to know that life exists somewhere other than Earth, right? If you found a fetus or even a cell that had come together and divided once on Mars, what kind of scientific discovery would that be? It would be the biggest thing that had ever happened to science in the history of science. Why is it that we can't acknowledge what that is in the womb of a mother? The implications of an unplanned pregnancy and unwanted pregnancy it's complicated. It's not as simple as, well, you got pregnant. Now you got to have this baby. Don't come at me with the she should have made a different decision before she chose to get herself in this position. That's neither here nor there. There's a life that's worth protecting. And you got to consider the stress that is put on the mother who has the ability to make that choice. You got to consider the heartbeat that you can detect with medical equipment at 6 weeks into gestation. Like a real heartbeat. Like a heartbeat. You can see it. You can hear it. It's an amazing, amazing thing. If that existed anywhere else in this universe, it would be the biggest scientific discovery to ever happen. I think that's life right then and there. And if that is life right then and there, and if you agree with me on that, how do you decide not to protect it? I just don't understand that. You can read more in the conversation on the Annie Fry Show Facebook page and kind of see how that unfolded. A lot of people saying a lot of interesting things, giving a lot of interesting perspectives like Steve did with his personal experience of a misdiagnosis. But I don't care if it was a misdiagnosis or not. Both those lives are worthy of protecting, and I think we need to advocate for that. Quick break. When we come back, we'll get to the rest of the stuff that I missed on the show today with Katie and Ryan. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get your air conditioner ready for the summer heat with a maintenance agreement from Air Comfort Service. Monthly maintenance plans start at only $15 per month. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Meridian Waste is currently looking to hire talented CDL drivers for residential, roll-off, and commercial openings at their local office in Florestal, Missouri. If you're interested in working for a growing company that offers a competitive salary, generous benefits that include paid vacation, please reach out today via phone at 314-227-7012 or email your resume to hr@meridianwaste.com for immediate consideration. Good driving record is a must. New drivers are eligible for a $2,500 sign-on bonus. Call today to secure your future and be home every night with your family.
Michael's Flooring Outlet, your choice when you require a few things shopping for flooring. You want good value? I know that I always want good value. I'm going to shop around and look for a product that I like, and then I'm going to look for the place where I can get the best value for it. That's Michael's Flooring Outlet when it comes to flooring. If you are looking for tile, if you're looking for hardwood or something that looks like hardwood but doesn't require the maintenance of hardwood, or even carpet, check out their Mohawk line of different flooring. It is an amazing line of flooring. They have the All Pet, they have the Silk Reserve, they have the Arrow. All of these products available at Michael's Flooring Outlet, and they are all top of the line. You're going to get quality there. You're going to get quality for value, and you're going to get that quality and value with the best customer service around. You can shop any of their locations. There are 3 of them throughout the St. Louis area in St. Charles County on Main Street in Old Town St. Peters at Mid Rivers and Highway 70. You can visit them in West County on Olive Boulevard, a mile off 270 West on Olive. You can also check them out in Darien Prairie, but you can go online right now to their website and see everything they have to offer and the great deals that they offer them with online at igotfloored.com.
This is the season of big celebrations, weddings, graduations. Be sure you can see them clearly. Mark Cox here for my friends over at Brenton Vision. My wife, Michelle, went to Brenton Vision, had a modern version of LASIK called RLE. That is lens replacement, and she no longer needs glasses or readers, doesn't have to be concerned about cataracts. And when my son walks across the stage, she'll be able to see it clearly. You can too. Dr. Jason Brenton is a Harvard-trained surgeon, and he has got thousands of satisfied customers right here in the greater St. Louis area. You can find out online at BrentonVision.com. You can take a test to see what you might be a candidate for. Brenton Vision is the only place in St. Louis where you'll find all 7 forms of modern vision correction. Call them today at 314-375-2020, 314-375-2020. You can book right now online at BrentonVision.com.
Home warranty. I know, right? Buying coverage for appliances, your heater and AC, etc., from a company that hopes you never ever have a claim or call. Let me introduce you to a real home warranty company, the kind that actually wants to help you. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. Upkeep visit your home 4 times a year to maintain your appliances and equipment. You will never get a lack of maintenance denial because Upkeep does the maintenance. Also nice, Upkeep assigns you one point person to help you. You won't be passed around like an office hot potato, and you won't get subcontractors. Upkeep does all their work, so there's no blame game. just experts helping you. Visit upkeepstl.com today and type in 97.1 for $100 off. Don't be denied. Instead, be relieved. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance, 636-387-7331.
Keep up your home with Upkeep. Keep up your home with Upkeep. Keep up your home with Upkeep, and you'll have a happy home.
Weekdays from 6 to 7. Catch the Dave Glover Show on 97.1. It's the best of each day, boiled down to 1 hour. The DGS Highlight Hour, every weekday at 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. It's Monday. We've almost wrapped this Monday up. Probably maybe a short week for a lot of you as Memorial Day weekend is coming up a week from today, Memorial Day. Wonderful day to celebrate one of my favorite days. I'm going to remind you all, wear sunscreen on your Memorial Day holiday weekend because I did not do that this weekend and I am an idiot and now I am paying for it and have been. Thank God I can take Tylenol. I've been taking it every 4 hours almost around the clock because it hurts. Katie's husband made the same mistake. You said something about him getting his scalp burned. Yeah. I've had my part. Have you ever had a sunburn on?
Oh yeah.
Katie is a female. Ryan, you were talking about your head. That is something especially awful.
Yeah.
The sunburn on the head.
Oh, and the peeling process is just not a good look.
It's attractive.
I just spray my whole head at this point. It ends up serving as like a mousse. Just spikes my little hair up there.
I'm envious of men who can just do that. Like there's really no way. I mean, you can wear a hat, of course, but there's really no way to avoid it for women. If you part your hair and you're out in the sun and that part gets sunburned, boy, you are just gonna suffer. It's the worst. All right, Katie, you want to get to the rest of what I didn't get to today?
Hey, what'd I miss?
So now that COVID cases are going down and people are getting out of lockdown and schools are reopening, I think de Blasio went on Morning Joe to make his big announcement.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. What's the news?
Mika, it's good news. New York City Public Schools, 1 million kids will be back in their classroom in September, all in person, no remote.
Wow.
That's the news. I think parents, kids, everyone's been waiting for to know we're going to be back strong, ready, safe. COVID is plummeting in this city. I'm happy to say we're almost at 8 million vaccination doses since day one. And it's just amazing to see the forward motion right now, the recovery that's happening in New York City. But you can't have a full recovery without full strength schools, everyone back sitting in those classrooms, kids learning again. So that's what we're going to have in September.
Oh, you don't say. Really? Was he wearing a cape when he was saying this, like he was a superhero? The only other thing I can add to his very generous dose of freedom he's returning to New Yorkers is thank God he wasn't eating a cheeseburger while he was talking.
Whoa.
1 million kids. I just looked up the child population of New York City, 1.7 million. So what are we talking about? 60% of the kids are going back? Like is that big of a news conference that you're going to get 60% of the kids back? I guess so now.
Also, let me interject too. Like Mika, stop slobbering all over this. Like Mika's the worst.
I can't believe it. He came on our show for the billionth time. Who could have booked him? So now that we are having in-person, in-school learning again, what is going to be taught? What are some of the subjects? Well, we know that a lot of people, specifically Ron DeSantis, has been fighting against critical race theory.
So what we're doing, the Florida Board of Education is meeting, and they are addressing this. And I told them they need to address this, and we've got to do it. I mean, first of all, it's offensive. Here we are celebrating tax savings. It's offensive to the taxpayer that they would be asked to fund critical race theory, that they would be asked to fund teaching kids to hate their country and to hate each other.
It's so true, because it will be your dollars that pay the people to teach this and pay for the content that will be taught. And this is how drastic change is implemented into this country, is through the education system. It's been happening in higher education for a long time. This type of stuff is going deep, deep, deep down into the younger grades as well. And I have to tell you what, if you think that this is a problem that exists elsewhere that you've heard of that sounds terrible, but you don't think it's in your backyard, you better do some digging. It's in your backyard. As a matter of fact, it might be in the house already, because I've heard specifically, personally, locally here of the way this is infiltrated. Look up the Rockwood School District and what's going on there. This is a real problem. This is really affecting everybody who has the benefit from public education, which is all of us. So pay attention.
Ron DeSantis is making news every single day regarding policy, too. This just in, apparently Florida Governor DeSantis signed a bill into law that allows Floridians to sue big tech platforms for monetary damages. I mean, this guy doesn't stop. Every day he's got something else.
Good for him. This is just another clip from a Georgia school board making the decision because the parents were fighting back, saying we don't want this taught to our kids in the classroom. And the Georgia school board made a decision about it.
I again emphasize that neither I nor your school board have any plans to implement critical race theory or the 1619 project. We have no plans to implement any of their concepts or race-based teaching under that name or any other name. We're not playing semantics. We're being truthful. And while I had initially entertained and publicly spoken to the development of a standalone diversity, equity, and inclusivity DEI plan, I recognize that our intentions have become widely misunderstood within the community.
Just going back to what I was just saying before, find out what's going on in your community and be vocal about it. You do not have to have a child in the public education system to have a voice on this, because A, you fund it, and B, what the education system is doing to children today will be in effect when these kids grow up and go through the process of critical race theory in repetition, and then they grow up and they're supposed to be out in the workforce and they're supposed to be, helping prop up the system that you've been propping up. Be involved, be educated yourself, and be able to have a voice.
Speaking of educated on it, the Rockwood thing, I read a write-up from the Riverfront Times on the Rockwood situation. Their whole argument was, well, what even is critical race theory?
Whose argument? Riverfront Times or Rockwood?
Riverfront Times. That was their argument against Rockwood for fighting back against it. It was like, well, what even is it?
Not surprised by the RFT.
Yeah.
So we've seen a lot of congressmen and women kind of backpedaling because they were making these really crazy claims about Israel last week. And now Bernie Sanders is kind of joining that club too.
I think the United States has got to develop a even-handed approach to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We have to be pro-Israel, but we have to be pro-Palestinian. And I hope and believe the president understands that.
Yes. To be pro-Israel is to be pro-Palestinian, because Hamas is holding the Palestinian people hostage and causing this trouble in the Middle East, where they are effectively using Palestinian targets to cause trouble. They're like the annoying class clown who's just there to cause trouble. He doesn't care how it ends. It doesn't care who he gets in his web in the midst. I say he, like every class clown is a he. There are she's that exist there too. Hamas is the troublemaker here, and it's being funded by Iran. This is something that needs to be fundamentally understood, and Israel has the right to defend themselves regardless of how Hamas is trying to set this up so that it is indefensible. It's weird to hear Bernie Sanders talk about supporting Israel at the same time as Palestine, but Washington, D.C. is bent out of shape on this issue. They're hard to watch, hard to listen to.
When Jim Carafano comes on the show and says, yeah, the Biden administration actually has no plan. They just have a domestic agenda, and every foreign policy issue, they just want to go away. He is so right. They don't know what they're doing. They just try to sort of tamp it down until it goes out of the news.
I don't really know how to phrase this. If either one of you two have a better phrase, let me know. It's not the anniversary of George Floyd, But the incident is coming. The 1 year.
I don't think anniversary is wrong.
Okay. Well, that's
I don't think
coming.
anniversary implies celebration.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't want to be offensive, but
1 year mark.
that's coming. That 1 year mark is coming. So again, we're having these discussions about policing in America, and Cory Booker has found his way to have some commentary about it.
Now we're seeing this every single day. The profession itself here in New Jersey, applications to the state police are at a historic low. About 90% less people even applying to be New Jersey state troopers. We have a crisis of policing in America. It's not new, but we have to come together and fix it. And one of the things the public needs is trust, transparency, accountability to make sure that we all feel confident that our policing is meeting the standards of our nation. If we keep saying that police officers are somehow above the law, that will never establish the kind of trust that we need in America to move forward.
Can you cite me one time where someone has said that police officers are above the law? I mean, fundamentally, to your argument, Senator Booker, nobody is making that case. Saying that police officers are above the law is something that the opposing side, the people who detest law enforcement in our country, are implying that police officers are somehow above the law. But it certainly isn't the case. And people who advocate for the support of the thin blue line do not advocate for police being under any set of rules different than any other citizen. In fact, they are usually held to a higher standard than the rest of us are. I wish that we would get to talking about actual crime, where crime exists, why crime exists, where it exists, and talking about getting to the root of that problem. St. Louis being ground zero for a lot of this, Chicago, New York, Baltimore, Portland. I mean, we can go story to story to story to story and see where these things have a consistency. Why are they consistent? What are the similarities? And how do we fix that? And how do we empower law enforcement to make these communities safer? Is that a crazy question? Maybe it is. Thanks for listening today. Mark Reardon Show's coming up next. If you're streaming us on Odyssey, you can keep streaming 97.1 FM Talk, and the Mark Reardon Show will be up next. Don't go away.
The Odyssey app. The Odyssey app.